It's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep. Download the Radio.net app and listen to Onside Radio in every Inter Miami CF game. OnsideRadio.com, your home for Inter Miami soccer.
Let's raise a cup to the first among us who put themselves last. To the risk takers, the mask makers, the heroes on the front line and online. To the ones keeping shelves full and keeping us hopeful. To those who don't stop and those making all the stops. To the ones who pick up, suit up, and never let us down. From all of us at Dunkin' to all the heroes keeping everyone running, we thank you.
You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of Onside Radio ownership, management, sponsors, website, or Inter Miami Marketing, LLC. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yes! Oh, it is. It is! Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Oh, I'm Alex Donno, and I'm with you guys for the next 3 hours here on OnsideRadio.com. You can listen to us live right there on our website, OnsideRadio.com. Hit the Listen Live button. You can also get all sorts of segments, rants. You can get our podcast directly on the website, OnsideRadio.com. Personally, I think it's easier to keep up with the pods if you go directly to a podcast host like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and you subscribe to our pods. That way they come right into your device. They come right into your inbox, your mobile phone, all that good stuff. But there's so many different ways to get us both live and on replay. For those listening live right now, OnsideRadio.com, you can also listen on a number of different mobile apps like the MyTuner radio app, the Radio FM app. I was listening to that one on the way up here today. Was listening to Toast earlier today. Was listening to we got double Toast today. We got a Toast replay today, so we got plenty of Toasted Sports. So download any of these free mobile apps. And also, if you're listening live, I recommend you watch live. If you're stationary somewhere, you're at home, you're at the office, you can be on your computer or on your tablet, go to YouTube or Twitch, search Onside Radio, and log right in there, subscribe to our channel, and watch live to your heart's content. And when you're in there, you can chat with us live. The YouTube chat is great. I'm very active on there. Yeah, I chat with you guys. You can chat with each other. You can chat with me. In date is first in. How about that? Love it. Welcome in, my friends. And when you're in there, not only partake in the live chat, but even easier, smash that like button. Smash that thumbs up, my friends. That pumps up our algorithm to everybody. You can also text the show. If you're not able to chat with us live on YouTube and Twitch, text the show, 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. I have Alex Aguirre riding shotgun. I'm sure that, like the rest of us, he got the agony of what happened to the Miami Heat last night, which was humiliating and embarrassing. We're going to talk about it, of course. But we also had the ecstasy of what the Florida Panthers did yesterday. How did the Marlins do last night, Alex? I actually, did you see, I got trolled by the Marlins official Twitter account.
Really?
I did, yeah. So what happened was a buddy of mine, because I was complaining about, because the Heat got shellacked, right?
Yep.
So I'm complaining about that. I flip over to the Panthers game, And then 53 seconds in, the Panthers give up the opening goal to the Lightning.
Right.
So early on, it was looking dicey, okay?
Yep.
So basically, I tweeted about having nowhere to go, right? Because the Heat were getting crushed. The Panthers were down 1-0 early, and I'm tweeting about having no other options. And a buddy of mine tweets me, and he tagged the Marlins in the tweet. And he's like, oh, you should flip over and watch the Marlins game. My response to him was, I'm too busy washing my hair. Keep in mind I'm bald.
Come on, man. They won.
I heard.
Yeah.
I heard they won. But the thing was, so I give him the snarky response, I'm too busy washing my hair. And I hadn't realized, because I don't like to, like, you know, I don't like to be confrontational with our teams. Like, I don't like to, like, I'm not gonna, like, at the Miami Heat and say you guys suck. Like, I'm not gonna at the Marlins and say, like, I have no interest in watching you. I didn't realize that he had tagged the Marlins, like, Twitter account in his tweet. So then I make this stupid joke about washing my hair. And then I've got the Marlins tweeting back to me like, hey, you can take the Marlins radio network into the shower with you. And then the Marlins radio network starts tweeting at me. It's like a whole thing. So
look what you started.
I started a whole thing where, I mean, the Marlins hate me. I guarantee you, the Marlins freaking hate me. So
They're playing well. One game out of first place.
I'm happy they won last night. I am. I'm real happy they won last night. We got RC at the 305. He says, what's up, Donno? Let me say this. I mean, I'm happy for Alex that he's happy about his Marlins, and the Marlins won yesterday.
I was watching the Panthers game a lot, though,
which is fantastic, and I want to get to that because, you know, I'm a huge basketball fan and a huge hockey fan, not as much of a baseball fan. So, thank God for the Florida Panthers last night, because if the Miami Heat game had been the only local sporting event on yesterday, I would have jumped off a bridge. I would be in the worst mental state of all. But what the Florida Panthers did last night, and you give the lion's share of the credit to your 20-year-old netminder, Spencer Knight, making his first NHL Stanley Cup playoff start yesterday. That young man has ice in his veins. And don't say we didn't warn you. I didn't predict he would be as magnificent last night as he was, but we had a long conversation on this show yesterday with George Richards from Florida Hockey Now. And if you listened to that yesterday, George joined me, I don't know what it was, the 5 o'clock hour? I think it was the 3 o'clock hour, actually, that George Richards joined me yesterday. And we specifically had a conversation about Spencer Knight, and our hypothesis on Knight was if he was going to lose that game last night, it was not going to have anything to do with his nerves or his mental preparedness for that moment. That if Spencer Knight had lost last night, and listen, I'm not guaranteeing you he wins the next 2 games, okay? I think he's going to be your starter, at least for the upcoming game. We'll see how he does. He's going to be your starter in Game 6. So if Spencer Knight loses games, it may come down just to a lack of experience or to the Tampa Bay Lightning just being so freakingly good because they have a lot of talent. Like the Tampa Bay Lightning have a ton of talent. These are the defending Stanley Cup champs from last year, okay? But we told you, we warned you, and we put it out there on Front Street, George Richards and I, that if Spencer Knight was going to lose that game last night, it would not have anything to do with his temperament, his mental state, his nerves. That dude, mentally, an absolute pro. Ice in his veins. Gold medal in the World Junior Championships. And, you know, the crazy thing about Spencer Knight and why I'm so happy for him is 2 months ago, this guy was playing as a member of Boston College in an elimination game in the NCAA tournament, the Frozen Four. 2 months ago was suiting up for his college team. Ends up leaving, you know, after his sophomore season. And then within the 2 months that followed, this guy got 4 regular season starts, late season action for the Panthers, won all of them, went 4-0-0. And he gets the call last night, and he didn't get the call because that was part of Coach Q's plan. That was an audible. Like, Coach Q had to do what he did last night, starting the kid, because your 2 veterans, one of them making $10 million a season, has sucked. And then the other one being Chris Drieger, who, you know, I don't know how much his status may have changed heading into the offseason, but Chris Drieger expected to be a really sought-after unrestricted free agent this summer, and he's been hot garbage in that. So Coach Q ends up deciding, you know what, I've got to roll the dice because both of my veteran goaltenders have been absolute trash. So I need to try something different. I need to give Spencer Knight a call, and it paid off in spades yesterday. Like, it paid off. I was so worried, and it's not like that first goal was his fault, by the way, but 53 seconds into the hockey game, the Tampa Bay Lightning find the opening goal, and as per usual with the Panthers, it was a defensive mistake, a blue line mistake. Keith Yandel, you get a 2-on-1 odd man rush, and Tampa Bay scores a goal on the first shot on net in the entire hockey game. And I didn't blame Knight for that, but I'm still thinking, oh, man, is this the tone setter for the rest of the evening? Are the Panthers going to get absolutely wrecked and embarrassed by the Lightning? And you know what happened after that? For the next 19 minutes and 3 seconds, all Knight did was stop shot after shot after shot after shot. He made the easy saves. He made the tough saves. He made the acrobatic saves. There was one where he was on top of the puck. He kind of lost sight of it for a second, and then a bunch of these loser Tampa Bay Lightning players, God, I hate these guys so much. I mean, half their team is ineligible anyway. I mean, let's stash these guys on the long-term injury report, and we'll be $17 million over the cap when the playoffs begin. Very, very unethical team, these Tampa Bay Lightning. And so, of course, when the puck was like under Spencer Knight's body when he was sprawled out in front of the goal line, these stupid Tampa Bay Lightning players start celebrating like, yeah, we scored a goal. And no, you went to the replay. The puck was not anywhere near clearing the goal line. Just a bunch of jabronis, these Tampa Bay Lightning players. And that was a goaltender win yesterday. Coach Quenneville talked about it after the game. Like, that wasn't the type of performance where, you give up 5 or 6 goals, 4 or 5 goals, and then you just outscore the other team, because we've had a couple of those recently from the Panthers where you have a struggling goalie, but your offense just really shows up to play. That was on the goalie. Spencer Knight was tremendous. He turned away everything after giving up the first shot on net, turned away everything. 36 consecutive saves in that game. Such a cool customer. The kid is cool as a cucumber talking after the game. Like, he was talking like it was just another night at the office. Like, it doesn't matter to that guy whether he's suiting up for Boston College or whether he's suiting up for Team USA in the World Juniors or he's suiting up for the Florida Panthers in an elimination game, mind you, in the Stanley Cup playoffs against the defending champs. An elimination game on home ice. And listen, it's nice to be on home ice because you get the friendly crowd, right? That's nice, but it's also a big crowd because they had 75% capacity last night. Biggest crowd you've had in that building all season long, going back to 15 months ago, which was the last time they could put more than 75% of the fans in that arena. So it was a gigantic crowd, and it's a lot of pressure. Like, it's a lot of pressure getting your first playoff start in front of a big crowd, even if it's a pro Panthers crowd. And after the game, I hear this guy talking, and it's just like no different than being on the pond playing as a kid, like just having fun. No moment is too big for that guy. Consider me a gigantic Spencer Knight fan. I hope he can recapture even 80% of that magic coming up in Game 6. Because next time around, you step into the wood chipper. You got to go back to Tampa and stave off elimination, right? Now, again, I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him. I honestly, I worry more about the defensemen, and I worry about the stupid mistakes that they're making more than I worry about the goaltending, because I think Spencer is going to be up to the challenge. But, if you get so many quality shots on net from the other team because the defense is breaking down, then there's only so much a goalie can do, right? So they defended well enough that they allowed Spencer Knight to stand on his head throughout that game and make all the important saves. But I hope you can say the same thing, my friends, for Game 6 tomorrow night, because guess what? Sphincters are getting tight in Tampa Bay. And if the Panthers can go in there and win Game 6, even up the series to head home to Sunrise for Game 7, I'm a believer. I'm a believer if you can do that. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. Tampa Bay, I'm sure, I haven't looked at the odds yet for tomorrow night, but I'm sure they're heavily in Tampa's favor, that they're going to be favored to clinch and win that series at home tomorrow. But I'm the same guy who told you after the Panthers fell down 2-0 in that series that they were finito. It was done, and they couldn't come back from that as a team as good as Tampa Bay. But if you get it done tomorrow, you force the Game 7 in Sunrise, all bets are off, and I will be a believer again. I got to give credit to our buddy Tommy in Hialeah. I don't know if he's in the YouTube chat or if he's listening online right now, but he was the guy who last week, before the disaster that was Game 4, like Game 4 was such a disaster that Coach Q had to change his whole philosophy on the goalie rotation. Like Game 4 was such a disaster that Coach Q realized, no, man, I need to reshuffle the deck and I need to give the kid a chance, that it's desperation time. It's last chance saloon. We got to give Knight a chance to play. But even prior to Game 4, going back to last Thursday, last Friday, our guy Tommy in Hialeah was in the YouTube chat saying, Donno, don't you think Quenneville should give Knight a chance to play? Don't you think he should give him a chance to start? I dismissed it. Our guy Big O said the same thing. Don't you think he should give Knight a chance to start? And I said, no, I'd be too worried. A 20-year-old, he's not ready for that moment. You've got to rely on the veterans, Bob and Drieger. But then Bob and Drieger were, the combination of them were so disastrous recently. And Game 4 was one of the most Game 4 for the Panthers, losing 6-2 to the Lightning, was kind of like Game 2 for the Miami Heat last night against the Milwaukee Bucks. It was really bad. And so then Coach Q's hand was forced. Now, it's amazing how quickly the narrative has changed, okay? Because the narrative prior to Game 4 was most of us saying, I don't think Knight is going to get a chance to start in net for the series. Then after last night, I see a lot of people saying, bro, how come Coach Q waited this long? Like, did Quenneville make a mistake not giving Knight a chance to play before Game 5? Did he waste, a couple of opportunities? Because Spencer Knight clearly looks like the best goaltender. I mean, that was the best performance in goal by far the Panthers have gotten in this series. Did Coach Q waste an opportunity? Guys, let's not get crazy, okay? I'm still going to give Quenneville the benefit of the doubt on this, because had he gone to Knight earlier than he did, okay, this is a real damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, right? I completely understand, because throughout the regular season, Bob had gotten better late in the year, considerably better than he was to start the season, and last year he was a disaster. So Bob had been looking better late in the regular season, and Chris Drieger had been very reliable throughout the regular season. And again, Spencer Knight 2 months ago was in college. So I could completely understand why Quenneville didn't turn to Knight sooner. That's a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if he had turned to Knight sooner, and, Spencer didn't have a good start first time in net. He did last night, but if he had gone to him in Game 3 or Game 4 instead of Game 5 and things hadn't gone well for him, what do you think the narrative is around Coach Q? Everyone would be saying, wow, desperation, he screwed up, what is he doing? He's not fit to coach this team. How can he make a decision like that? That's a tough spot. Now, by the time he made the decision Game 5, it was a much easier choice to make, because you had a 4-game sample of your veteran goalies failing. Except for, the Panthers did win, Game 3. But for the better part of 4 games, it was a debacle, right? So you had a bad 4-game sample. And so at that point, it made the decision a lot easier. But I do not fault Coach Q for waiting until Game 5 to make the move. I actually give him credit for having the stones to make that move when he did, because I second guessed it when we first heard after Sunday that Knight was in the starter's net for Sunday's practice. I was questioning it. I was doubting it. I came around to it, and now I think Coach Q is a goddamn genius. RC in the 305 asks, how's Big O doing? I think he's doing really well. He was actually in the building today. He's waiting until Friday. So Friday, he's going to make his comeback to the airwaves. He's just waiting till Friday because after getting that procedure done last Thursday to remove the polyp from his throat, he was very strictly told by doctors and very strictly told by his wife, who, if she's anything like my wife, is going to make sure he doesn't violate any of these rules. He was very strictly told not to speak and not return to the airwaves until, a certain date, and that's going to be this coming Friday. So he's going to be back on the airwaves. He's resting his voice until then, but he's feeling great. I've been texting with him every day for the last several days. I saw him here in the building today. It was great to see him. He's doing his whole kind of whispering sign language thing, but he's just saving his voice because on Friday he's going to be ready to go, man, full throttle, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Later this hour, 3:35, we're going to talk with Dave Dwork from Chirping the Cats. Next hour, 4:20, we're going to talk some football with Antoine Staley. I got to get his take on Aaron Rodgers, who spoke to Kenny Mayne last night on SportsCenter, clarified his situation a little bit. And also, Julio Jones, where does he end up? So we're going to tackle those topics and more with Antoine. And then at 5 o'clock, we're going to talk some Inter Miami with Thomas Rongen, color analyst here from the Inter Miami CF Radio Network. But friends, you know what's coming up next? Tuesday, my favorite day of the week. We're going to put some bad takes on blast. Bad sports takes, food take. I've got one for you today. A new episode of Terrible Take Tuesday, brought to you by Checkers Old Munchin, is coming your way next. You're listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Listen to OnsideRadio.com anywhere by downloading the MyTuner Radio app in your app store. Or go to MyTunerRadio.com on your web browser. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida sports leader.
When you want a perfectly straight smile without braces, you can count on MoodyAsDental.com. A stunning smile is within reach. Learn more about Invisalign. Find out why so many trust the Moody-Ass family. Dr. Moody-Ass is an inventor and has several patents on innovative surgical instruments that are used around the world. Experience a family environment and trust on a worldwide level. From implants to crowns to a beautiful Invisalign smile. Call 305-821-0231. That's 305-821-0231. Or go to the website at MoodyAsDental.com.
At OnsideRadio.com, we chirp all day and night. It's time to do some more chirping with David Dwork at our Chirping the Cats report.
It was a great night in Sunrise as the Panthers avoided elimination and forced the Game 6 with Monday's 4-1 win over Tampa Bay. The story of the game was Florida rookie goaltender Spencer Knight. The 20-year-old stopped 36 shots in the win while becoming the youngest Panthers goalie to ever start a playoff game. He's expected to be back in goal for Florida when the puck drops on Game 6, which is set for Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Helping Knight in the other end was defenseman Mackenzie Weeder, who had a goal and an assist, and rookie Mason Marchment, who picked up the game-winning goal with his second period tally. Sasha Barkov and Jonathan Huberdeau each finished with 2 points apiece, and for Huberdeau, it was his third straight multi-point effort and his fourth of the postseason. The win also represented Florida's first postseason victory at the BB&T Center since April of 2016, when they took down the New York Islanders in Game 4 of the first round.
Keep up with the latest on the Florida Panthers by subscribing on most platforms by searching Onside Radio, your home for South Florida sports.
Now that it's springtime, it's only getting hotter here in South Florida. Make sure your AC in your home or business is running smoothly by investing in a preventative maintenance plan from M&S Air Conditioning. And M&S is a Mitsubishi Diamond Elite contractor. When you purchase a new Mitsubishi electric mini split system, you'll get a 12-year warranty. Or install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit that captures and destroys biological contaminants to improve air quality. M&S Air Conditioning have been providing prompt, honest, and reliable service for over 30 years. Schedule service or call to get more info on our preventative maintenance plans. Call 954-421-3680 or visit ac-florida.com.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
With Make-A-Wish, the impossible becomes possible. A girl battling cancer can become a race car driver battling the course. The boy showing all the nurses his fire trucks can take the helm of a real one. Wishes can give kids with critical illnesses the strength to keep fighting, get better, and grow up.
Where there's a wish, there's a way.
Wishes need you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
We have a lot still to come on this episode of Man of the Match. We take you up until 6 o'clock tonight on Onside Radio. We take you up until Miami Sports Music for the Fans, hosted by my really good friend Stephen D., who does an awesome job, man. I mean, you're looking for somebody who's passionate about the Dolphins and passionate about connecting all the great, amazing fans, not only the ones who reside in South Florida, but there are so many amazing Dolphins fans and Heat fans and Inter Miami fans and Panthers fans that live all over the country and all over the world. And I don't want you laughing at me when I say Panthers fans who live all over the world, because I know Panthers fans who live in Europe. Okay, so don't think it's just a handful of South Floridians, right? I know some dudes from Finland who are big Sasha Barkov fans, and I know a guy, Roy, in Scotland, who I'm not even particularly sure why he's a Panthers fan, but he's obsessed with the Panthers. So it's incredible the way that some of these local sports teams can bring people together all over the world. Before we get to the rest of what's going to be a really fun program today with Dave DeWork joining us to talk some Panthers this hour, Antoine Staley going to talk some NFL with us next hour, and Thomas Rongan going to talk some Inter Miami with us in the 5 o'clock hour. This is my favorite segment of the week, folks. It's Tuesday, so we are ready, my friends, to put some awful, awful opinions on blast for another episode of Terrible Take Tuesday.
There's always one idiot with a platform.
How stupid are you?
You're a moron!
Anybody can say anything these days. This is Terrible Take Tuesday.
Hey, pal. You just blowing from Stupid Town?
Here's something driving me crazy over the past 15 hours. I don't know why people can't just react to one really, really embarrassing, terrible game played by the Miami Heat. And hell, if you want to react to what's been kind of a disappointing season, like even though they got to the playoffs and they didn't have to play in the dumb play-in thing, if you want to call this a bad Miami Heat season, that's fine. But let me tell you what drives me insane, because I'm seeing a lot of this over the past 16 hours since the embarrassment last night. One loss, a terrible performance, and I start to see more and more people saying things like, Heat culture isn't real, or Heat culture is dead. It's like, bros, a bad game and a bad season doesn't cancel out decades and an entire identity of a franchise. We hear this all the time from Frank Isola, who's a douche. I'm starting to see this now. I was reading an article this morning at thebiglead.com by this clown, Stephen Douglas. He's an absolute chooch who writes this piece in the Big Lead where, here's the title, "It was a rough night for the Heat and Heat culture, but at least their season is almost over." That was the headline. Like, oh my God, the only mercy I get is the season's over. Like, bro, you don't have to make this a referendum on the entire Pat Riley era. And you see things being said like this was part of the Stephen Douglas article, and it's such a bad take, pointing out that, oh, hey, by the way, in the 7 years since LeBron James left Miami, in 5 out of those 7 years, they haven't made it past the first round of the playoffs. Okay, you idiot. Let's not forget the time they went to the NBA Finals last year, and I bet you were probably one of the people that were praising Heat culture a year ago when that was convenient for your narrative. And now that it's convenient for your narrative to bash them, you're going to do that because you're just going to be on whatever side gets you more clicks, which is annoying as hell. And, you know, last year they make it to the finals, and they actually gave the Lakers a pretty decent series, and they were more banged up than the Lakers. You know, they took it to 6 games. You know, this squad without LeBron James has been within a few minutes of playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, what have the Cleveland Cavaliers done without LeBron? That team's an absolute joke. Like, you can talk for days about how embarrassing Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and the Miami Heat were last night, and how they were lifeless in Game 2 of that series. And whatever happens from here on out, if they get swept, if they lose the series in 7 or 6, whatever happens, you can criticize this year's Miami Heat. But to give me the dumbass take of what happened last night somehow debunks all of Heat culture, and it somehow debunks, the last 30 years of Pat Riley. It's absolutely absurd. Like, why can't you just break down what happened last night and this season? Why do you have to make this something that is like debunking this heat culture thing? So for this chooch, Stephen Douglas, and that loser, Frank Isola, the two of you guys are really – focus on your New York Knicks, okay, Isola? Focus on that. Next terrible take. This one is away from sports. This is delightfully bad. This is really bad. Maybe you saw this on social media. Maybe you didn't. So this dude, Jack Abraham, he's the CEO of Hims. I think they make boxer briefs or something. So the CEO of Hims – he lives in Miami. He's very enthusiastic about Miami, and that's great. I love Miami. I've lived here almost my entire life. Miami is great. I'm happy that there are people enthusiastic about Miami. So this guy, Jack, he's the type of CEO on social media. I do not go out of my way to follow people who have no real personality. They just write like a bunch of cookie-cutter inspirational quotes. It's like, bro, if that's what we want to make Twitter, I don't want to be a part of that. I just want people to be real. But he writes this tweet last week about Miami, and he got made fun of so much that he ended up deleting the tweet, which I think makes it even funnier. Jack Abraham, the CEO of Hims, tweeted, quote, "One of the defining characteristics of Miami is happiness and optimism. People are happy here. You see smiles on the street. Everyone says hi. There is a buzz and energy in the air. There are even apartments here with balconies, water views, and pools for just $600 a month." What? Bro, I couldn't rent a crack den in Miami for $600 a month. Like, water view, balcony, pool. Maybe in 1991 you could rent an apartment like that for $600 a month in Miami. What are you talking about? I don't know if this guy is an actual billionaire or if he's just a multimillionaire. I don't know enough about the financials of Hims, okay? But it's pretty obvious this dude lives in an ivory tower. He has no idea how much he's paying for his rent or how much he paid for his home and how much real people in Miami are paying to rent an apartment. But water view, balcony, for $600 a month. Please show me, right? If you could show me that apartment for $600 a month, I will sell my house tomorrow and I will move into that apartment and rent it for $600 a month. That was unbelievably bad take. And this guy got, and listen, I don't know this dude from Adam. Like, I'm not saying that I hate this guy. I just thought it was an incredibly dumb tweet, but he was getting made fun of so much for it that he actually deleted the tweet and just moved on with his life. All right, here's another terrible take. I don't know if you guys are into Eurovision. Have you ever heard of that, Alex? It's basically the European, like, it's American Idol on steroids. Like, every country in Europe competes for this song contest. They have like regional competitions where they choose the best song from every country, and then they perform them all live together, and all the countries in Europe battle against each other. And at the end of the contest, they take votes, and they crown the Eurovision champion. And I'm very, very proud of my fellow Italians for this, because Italy actually won the Eurovision Song Contest this year. And here's a terrible take. The sore loser French, who came in second, they tried to get Italy disqualified from Eurovision after they won. So, and by the way, this went so high up, the French European minister, seems like a pretty big job in that country. The French European minister actually personally tried to get Italy disqualified because there was this Twitter meme from the contest that made it look like the lead singer of the Italian band was snorting cocaine, but like, you can't actually see the cocaine. It like looked like he was bending over and maybe sniffing something. There's no real proof other than a meme. Guess what? They drug tested this guy afterwards, and it came up negative. So whatever he was doing, he wasn't snorting cocaine. Plus, what does snorting cocaine have to do with singing a song and winning a contest? And this French minister tried to get Italy disqualified from Eurovision so France could win. Bro, you're the French European minister. I got news for you. The unemployment rate in your country is 8.4%. Why don't you focus on that? Why don't you focus on what's happening in France and not what's happening in Eurovision, you loser. The final terrible take for today. This just generally annoys me. Terrible take. People who think coconut makes chocolate better. It ruins it. In fact, I don't think coconut is good in anything, to be quite honest with you. There was like a big fad recently where people were all drinking coconut milk. It tastes like toilet water. Like, and you put coconut in chocolate, it ruins the chocolate. It dilutes the chocolate. It gets stuck in your teeth, the little coconut strips. I can't stand it. Like, you ever go through one of those miscellaneous, I should say, boxes of chocolate, and, you know, like Forrest Gump said, you don't, even though I do think they usually put like a visual key in there, but usually I bite into whatever and I figure out what it is as I go along. But you never know what you're going to get, like Forrest Gump's mother once told him. And then you bite into like the chocolate piece from the box and you're like, God damn it, there's coconut in here. This is awful. Like, you spit out the rest of it. I just don't understand how anybody thinks that coconut enhances chocolate. You know what my theory is? It's one of those subsidy things. Like, you know how in this country we put corn in everything, corn syrup, because the government like basically pays subsidies to these farmers. They get so much corn, they don't know what to do with it. Is there like a coconut subsidy conspiracy I don't know about? Because it seems like we're throwing coconut in everything. Oh, coconut rice. You know what? Actually, I think the one thing where I don't mind coconut shrimp. We need to focus on that. Coconut shrimp is not bad. It's really not bad. So I think we need to focus more of our efforts into coconut shrimp and a lot less effort into coconut chocolate. Blech. And, coconut ice cream, coconut-flavored rum, I do not like. So we need to focus. Coconut rice, bad. Coconut shrimp, yes. Every other form of coconut does not enhance anything. It makes things a lot worse, in my humble opinion. So people who think coconut enhances chocolate, that, my friends, is a truly terrible take. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about Spencer's big night. You see what I did there? We're going to talk some Florida Panthers with Dave Dwork from Chirping the Cats Radio. He's on every Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m. right here on OnsideRadio.com. This is your home for Florida Panthers fans all over the world, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Listen to every Inter-Miami CF match on your home for La Rosa Negra, OnsideRadio.com. Catch us every day on the MyTuner Radio app. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
Big O, Tito is not allowed in the Boom Boom Room. Never seen Smokey and the Bandit. Never seen Top Gun. What's the matter with these kids? Look at that. Now you can't hang out with Salma, Paige, Sophia. See, now you can't hang out with the ladies because you have not seen Top Gun.
I would just hope that, like I said, the Boom Boom Room is sanitized. I would hope.
Well, I don't know, but did you hear about the 81-person orgy?
No.
What is wrong with you?
The Onside Zone with Big O, only on OnsideRadio.com.
Join the Inter-Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
A great night for the Florida Panthers thanks to Spencer Knight. Panthers stave off elimination and now trail the series 3-2 after a 4-1 win last night. Knight had 36 saves on the night, and Mackenzie Weegar and Patrick Hornquist had goals. Game 6 in Tampa tomorrow night. Puck drops at 8. Miami Heat had a game last night. Not sure they were aware of it, though. They fell to the Bucks 132-98. Dwayne Dedmon led the Heat in scoring with 19 points. The Heat were down 46-20 after the first quarter. Game 3 is at the AAA on Thursday. Tip-off at 7:30 p.m. Miami Marlins keep winning after a 9-6 victory last night. They are now one game behind the Mets for the NL East. Game 2 of the series tonight against Phillies. And first pitch is at 6:40 with Sandy Alcantara on the mound for your Fish. You're listening to South Florida's only locally owned sports talk station. And coming up, it's more of the Man of Match with Alex Donno right here at OnSiteRadio.com.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common, preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchased with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSiteRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
An unbelievable performance in net last night. It's like the kind of thing that they make Disney movies out of. I mean, I guess maybe like you'd have to like win the Stanley Cup, knock on wood, I guess, before you really get the Disney movie treatment. But still, I mean, you talk about first career playoff start for a 20-year-old goalie who was playing college hockey 2 months ago, and to go out and have the performance he had was incredible last night by Spencer Knight. We bring in our good pal David Dwork, who hosts Chirping the Cats Radio here Saturdays 10 to 11 a.m. on Onside Radio. And it's amazing the way that played out, Dave, because you and I were texting each other. We talk hockey every day. We were talking about, Knight getting the start yesterday afternoon, and we were just kind of like fantasizing about what a big game he might have and kind of thinking like I'm a little bit nervous and cautiously optimistic. And he ends up going out there and exceeding my expectations last night. Now, I want to ask you, as someone who played goalie, you were like my go-to when it comes to the in and outs of that position. Before we just get into how big that was for Spencer, what was Spencer Knight doing last night that set him apart from Bob and Drieger this series, who were both struggling a lot before Spencer got the call?
I think it starts with the way that he was controlling his rebounds, because there were really none.
Yeah.
Anytime the puck was around Spencer Knight, it seemed to be sticking to him or going to the corners. It wasn't going to the danger areas at all. Off the top of my head, I can only think of one really high danger rebound that he left behind last night, and that was the Pat Maroon in the third period. And all he did was rob him with this great kick save and just, make it look super easy like he did the whole night. But his positioning was great. He was always in the right spot. He was always at the top of his crease. He was very aggressive last night. He wasn't scrambling really at all. It's just amazing how this 20-year-old kid has this size and this control over his body, and he's just so good at the sport. And, I mean, you can see, like, little things that he's going to be able to improve on even once he starts getting coached at the NHL level, and this becomes, his 100% 9 to 5 every day. My life is devoted to this job, which it is now. But, go back 3 months, he was a college student full time. Mm-hmm. So it's a whole different thing now for him. It's unbelievable watching him. I mean, maybe it's not worthy of a Disney movie at this point, but I mean, we could at least get a Disney Plus miniseries out of what we've seen so far.
As long as Emilio Estevez is coaching the Panthers in this, he can play Coach Q. Like, just put a mustache on him, dye the hair gray, and I'm happy.
I like it.
We're joined here by Dave Dwork, who hosts Chirping the Cats Radio. Dave, what was going through your mind at the start of the game? And not to say that opening goal was Spencer's fault, but when Tampa scores 53 seconds into the hockey game, they scored the opening goal on the very first, shot on goal that they had in the game. Did you get a little bit worried, and were you expecting Spencer to potentially rebound the way he did?
I was a little worried. I probably kind of sat back in my chair and thought, here it comes, here we go. I'm sure that thought crossed my mind once or twice in that moment. And it was a frustrating thing because it's like the first minute of the game, and all you're thinking heading into it is we have to play a perfect game. We can't make the same mistakes that they've been making. And literally the first minute of the game, you see a massive mistake from somebody who you would think should know better to this point. And it leads to this 2-on-1 goal. Spencer Knight really had no chance on it.
Yeah.
Now, every goalie has a chance, and sometimes, but that's a really tough save to make. And for that to be his first shot in his first playoff game, it rattled probably, 14,000 fans or however many people were in the arena. Spencer Knight didn't get rattled. He just smiled and he's like, what a way to start. I guess I'll just keep going now. And just stopped every shot he saw the rest of the game. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's the big thing for me is, and I've talked about this with you before on and off the air, and I had George Richards on the show yesterday, and I hope people heard it because we had a long conversation, George and I, about how if anything was going to derail Knight's first start, it certainly was not going to be his nerves or his temperament because this kid is cool as a cucumber. Like we know that from, what he did at BC, what he did winning, the gold medal in the World Juniors, that the moment was not going to be too big for him. It clearly wasn't last night. Obviously, we can expect him to get the start in Game 6, which is another elimination game. So what do you think the biggest challenge is going to be? Because obviously, first start went better than expected, and I'm guessing there was a lot of adrenaline there. Now you have an incredible Tampa Bay Lightning team that I guess has a chance to study Spencer Knight a little bit more before they face him again. So what do you think are going to be the big challenges for Knight to try and do that 2 games in a row?
I really don't think it's as much about Spencer Knight as it is about the rest of the team.
Yeah.
We've seen now 5 games from Spencer Knight, and he's been incredibly consistent throughout every minute, every moment that we've seen him. He's very stable. He's very calm, cool, and collected in the net. He's positionally sound. There's really nothing that you could ask more of him at this point. Can the team come back tomorrow night with the same effort and with the same hustle and the same propensity that they were showing in the defensive zone to just completely lock Tampa down on the outside? If the Panthers can do that, then, when you think about Spencer Knight's game, he had 36 saves. He wasn't caught out of position. There weren't any backdoor shots. Every time Tampa tried to do something cute, they were right there the defense was right there to stop it. You just think about in the second period, I believe it was early on in the second period, when Tampa had a 2-on-1, they were up 1-0, and Gustav Forsling just hauls ass from the neutral zone to get back and block the pass that very well could have ended up a backdoor goal. And then 2 minutes later, Mackenzie Weegar got the Panthers on the board and off they went. So I really don't think it's as much about Spencer Knight. I think at this point we can be pretty comfortable with what he brings to the table, which is mind-blowing to think about. This guy's 20 years old. He wasn't even born the last time the Panthers won a playoff series, for crying out loud.
Man, I hadn't thought about that. Wow. That's crazy.
He was -5 years old when the Panthers last won a playoff series. He wasn't even a twinkle in his father's eye at that point.
Wow.
And look at what he's doing now. So if the Panthers can come back with the same effort that they had last night, with the same sound defensive game, the same possession that we've seen them do all year, it's hard to think that they're not going to take this back to a 7th game if they can do that, because now the missing link is in place. The one thing that hadn't been there for the rest of the series is now there: stability in goal.
If I do want to get back to this series in a moment, but even projecting for next year and for free agency, obviously we're not expecting Chris Drieger to be a Panther next year. He's going to end up somewhere else, Dave. But do you think the lumps that he's taken here in the playoffs, does that hurt his value at all for what sort of a contract he's going to be seeking this summer?
No, I don't think so. I think Chris Drieger, between the way he played last season in the regular season, the way he played this season, I think he's shown to anybody who would be interested that he's a very capable and consistent goalie. And even if he did struggle for a game and a half in the playoffs, that's not ideal, obviously. But I think that there's teams out there that are looking for a goaltender like Chris Driedger, somebody that you can get for a starting goalie, a pretty reasonable price, I would imagine. And they would love it if his playoff performance detracted a couple of the possible people that they could be competing with.
That's a great point.
So, no, I don't think that it's going to do anything to diminish his value. I think he's earned himself a very nice paycheck and a starting job somewhere. And wherever it is, as long as it's not in the division, I will be rooting for him.
And rightfully so, we're praising Spencer Knight, who was, the first star from that game last night. Jonathan Huberdeau, he's been incredible. 10 points in 5 postseason games. Like the Panthers being down 3-2, that has nothing to do with Huberdeau because he's been carrying his weight.
Yeah, he's got multi-point efforts, I think, in 4 out of the 5 games so far. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's leading all players.
He is
in the NHL in playoff scoring with 10 points in 5 games.
Yeah, I saw that stat like right before I got on the air that he's the leading scorer in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you think about how amazing it is. Has he really done anything super flashy? Has he really done anything to grab your attention? Really in the series, not so much. He's just quietly churning away, doing his job, piling up the assists. What more can you say about Jonathan Huberdeau except maybe you like him to shoot the puck a little bit more? But are you nitpicking at that point because he's already leading the league in playoff scoring? It's really unbelievable what he's doing. And when you think about for most of the season, we were talking about Sasha Barkov a lot more than we were talking about Jonathan Huberdeau. Yep. And now in the playoffs, Barkov, he's still performing, but Huberdeau is just kind of taking it upon himself to be the President Whitmore from Independence Day, and he's just we will not go quietly into the night again.
Night spelled with a K, by the way.
Every time I've heard that word for the last 24 hours, it's been with a K in my head. It's really kind of throwing me off.
Hey, before we let you run, do you have a prediction for tomorrow night? Another elimination game Wednesday night in Tampa.
Yes, I think the Panthers get the KO, the knockout in Tampa to bring it back to a Game 7 thanks to the K-man in goal. And I'm not talking about Cosmo Kramer. I'm talking about Spencer Knight. But, yeah, like I said, if the Panthers come back with an effort, I think Tampa may be a little shell-shocked when they saw the Panthers team for what they were, even with the full strength that they have. When you think about yesterday's game, do you really remember Nikita Kucherov or Steven Stamkos? Did Tampa's stars stand out to you at all? Because really, their major performances have been on the power play.
Yep.
So if the Panthers can stay out of the penalty box the way they did yesterday and move their feet without the puck the way they did yesterday, I feel so much better about this series than I did 24 hours ago, just based on the way that they played yesterday, combined with the stability and the amazing effort they got from Spencer Knight in goal. It feels like the series really turned on its head last night.
Yeah, it did. As Knight was standing on his head, the series turned on its head, and it was great to watch, and I hope we get more of that. David Dwork, you can hear him every Saturday on Chirping the Cats Radio. Thank you so much, man. I'm sure, like me, you've been rewatching those 36 saves over and over and over again. Keep pumping that into my veins, man. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, brother. Be well.
Good stuff there. We'll wrap up the 3 o'clock hour when we come back. Hey, Florida Panthers fans, you have a place to call home every Saturday morning. It's Cats Insider David Dwork, who we just heard, hosts Chirping the Cats Radio every Saturday at 10 a.m. Onside Radio is committed to all sports, and Panthers fans can now connect every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. with David Dwork on the home for Panthers fans worldwide, onsideradio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. You can connect with us at OnSideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnSideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Every Thursday, NBA fans can catch one of the best basketball shows in the country when Ethan Skolnick and Ira Winderman host Inside the Paint. Listen to two of the most knowledgeable and connected reporters in the business. Get year-round insight every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. with Inside the Paint on the home for hardcore basketball fans. OnsideRadio.com.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
Hey, it's Toast, and no doubt last year hurricane season was one of the craziest we've ever seen. Well, Noah's saying once again, going to be another active season, so you need to call B&T Windows and Doors today and get PGT custom windows and doors installed like I did so that you are fully protected. Listen, there's no better peace of mind than PGT custom windows and doors when you're the cone of death for a Category 5 storm. Call B&T Windows and Doors today to get set up. 954-233-0126. That's 954-233-0126.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
When you're looking to add that extra style and protection for your home or business, visit A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie or Sunrise, where plantation shutters are a major part of our business, and they look great in any home. We have them in white, stained colors, and wood tones. We can even motorize your shutters like the one in the OnsideRadio.com studio. A Shade Above Window Fashions, 954-434-4774. That's 954-434-4774. Love the space you live in. A Shade Above Window Fashions.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Huge thanks again to Dave DeWork for joining us, talking some Panthers. In about 25 minutes, we're going to talk some NFL with Antoine Staley, who writes for the Tallahassee Democrat. He's spent many years covering the Dolphins, Carolina Panthers, college football. I knew him many years when he was down here. Well, I still know him, but I knew him down here locally for many years. We used to cover the Dolphins together. So I'm looking forward to talking with Antoine as well. I want to send a huge shout-out to everyone who's in the YouTube chat with us. We appreciate everyone. Indade was the first one to check in earlier. RC in the 305 has been all over it. Tommy and Hialeah. Oh, so Tommy, I hope you heard the kudos, man. I gave you credit. You called it with Spencer Knight. You predicted that way before me. Satan Mouse Productions is in. Hello. Indade, I think I mentioned him already. Troy Ortiz, welcome in, sir. Ray Grullon, who writes, hello, Donno. Hello, everyone. Howdy, Donno, he said, actually. Go Panthers. For now, go Heat, I guess. I have a feeling they will win 2 at home, though, and even the series. Your mouth to God's ears, man. Certainly nothing I saw last night make me feel like the Heat win the next 2, but they've proven me wrong before. Rosendo is in. Rosendo says, this kid Knight has potential. The future looks bright for the Florida Panthers. I agree. Kid has ice in his veins. Rafa in Miami is in. Rafa says, Heat culture is dead. It's Spencer Knight's town now. I'll show myself out, he adds. So let me see what else. RC in the 305 was talking a lot earlier about the Heat, and he says, hold on. Does anybody now understand my concerns regarding maxing out Bam Adebayo? Yeah, as a couple people pointed out in the chat, you know, max deals in the NBA, unfortunately, it's just you take what the market gives you. I think they had to lock up Bam. What annoys me most about Bam is that all of his problems to me look solvable because they're not physical limitations. They're not athletic limitations. His nickname is No Ceiling for a reason. Like, he is capable of really being whatever he wants to be. If he wants to be a more polished version of Alonzo Mourning, he's capable of being that. You know, if he wants to be Chris Bosh on steroids, you know, and maybe develop into more of a floor spacer, he can do that. Like, I don't see any physical limitations with Bam Adebayo. And, you know, for the most part, like, he seems like a humble guy with a good head on his shoulders. But he needs a sports psychologist. Like, Adebayo needs to understand this is not a nice man's game. Like, this is not – the NBA is not a game that's going to reward you in the end for being overly polite and overly facilitating. Like, no, I don't want to take the shot. Why don't you take the shot? No. I do not want to drive into the lane and go to the rim. I would rather play more of a gentlemanly finish here from the elbow. Like, no. Playoff basketball especially. I mean, regular season basketball, kind of a different animal. It's more of a marathon than a sprint. Playoff basketball, it's not a nice man's game. There's no one there handing out victories and handing out O'Brien trophies. You have to take it. And when you are one of the two best players on your team, because it should be the Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo show, and I know Jimmy's been brutal. We're going to get to that. Jimmy's going to have his day in court coming up in the upcoming segment, but I want to talk about Bam because RC was texting about Bam. The only thing standing in Bam Adebayo's way is Bam's mental state. Like, he needs to understand you have got to take over. Like, don't be thinking about facilitating. Don't be thinking about settling for jumpers every single time. You need to be driving to the rim, drawing contact, drawing fouls, finishing at the rim, which is a higher percentage shot, and you need to stop being so nice. I hope he figures it out. I hope he does. We compare him a lot to Alexander Barkov on the Panthers. Barkov this season has started to figure that out a little bit more. You need to be more selfish. You need to take more shots on goal. And I think Adebayo still needs to figure out that you need to stop settling. You need to start driving to the rim and being more aggressive. And I think he's capable of being a very worthy max player. Rafa writes, I've heard Bam needs to be more aggressive. And you'll continue to hear it until I continue to see it, and I haven't. Oh, man. I don't know who Tony 2 times is referring to. He says, just what we need, more Knicks fans. So hold on. Who in here? Are there Knicks fans in the chat? I don't know if I caught that. Miserable Knicks fans. Your team has been in the gutter for over 20 years. I don't necessarily want to hear from Knicks fans today. All right, got the 4 o'clock hour coming up. So I called out Bam. Somebody called out Jimmy today, and I think he made some great points. Now, oftentimes, the person we're going to hear from turns up on Terrible Take Tuesday. Not today. It's Tuesday, yes, but this was not a terrible take. Jimmy Butler needs to be better. We'll get to that and more when we come back. Hey, Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com because every week you can keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports and when news breaks. Catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep.
Inter Miami CF fans, join us at our new home this season for all away games as we broadcast live at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company, 1901 North Federal Highway in Pompano Beach. Join Big O and Alex Donno for the live pregame, halftime, and postgame shows while we watch the games. Enjoy meticulously brewed beer on site, delicious artisanal pizzas, live music, and giveaways. So, the new home for all Inter Miami road games is at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company at the Pompano City Mall, where they'll feature all the Inter Miami Miami games. Follow them on Twitter at Dangerous Minds B and Facebook and Instagram at Dangerous Minds Brewing. And visit them at dangerousmindsbrewing.com.
When you're looking for curtains and blinds to create a space of your own, look no further than Bandalux. Bandalux can tailor your space to your needs. Create the atmosphere and ambiance you desire. We invite you to discover it at Bandalux.com. Explore our new solar control systems, range of sustainable fabrics, and energy-efficient solutions that can improve your well-being and quality of life. Witness Bandalux Beauty. Go to Bandalux.com or follow them on Instagram at Bandalux_official. For a personal experience, A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie and Sunrise is an official Bandalux partner.
When protecting your family is your priority, there's nothing more important than the roof above the people you love. At Onside Radio, we recommend Chase Roofing and Contracting. At chaseroofing.com, they care about the customer. Chase Roofing provides reliable roof installation and repair without the destruction to our environment. Chase Roofing is powered by Tamara, who is owner and operated for 18 years. Chaseroofing.com is Google top rated and a AAA standing with the Better Business Bureau. Open 24/7. Call them today. Trust chaseroofing.com to fortify and protect what's most important to you, your family. If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of Onside Radio ownership, management, sponsors, website, or Inner Miami Marketing, LLC. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, 4 o'clock hour, Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Taking you up until 6 o'clock tonight. 2 more hours to come. 4:20, we're going to talk some football with Antoine Staley. 5 o'clock, we're going to talk some football. A little Inter Miami with Thomas Rongen. I can get his take on the Champions League final coming up this weekend as well. Coach covers everything, man. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who's working nonstop? I mean, Thomas Rongen, he's not only the color analyst with us here on Onside Radio on the Inter Miami CF radio network. He calls all the Inter Miami games with us. He's also a studio analyst for CBS Sports.com and Paramount Sports, which is part of that same umbrella. And he is an analyst for BN Sports. So this guy is eating, sleeping, breathing the beautiful game 24 hours a day. And he's going to join us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, 5 p.m. sharp. All right, so this is what Tony was referring to when he said just what we need, more Knicks fans. Rosendo had sent in on the chat. He says, Donno, did you know over 33,500 New Yorkers have exchanged their driver's licenses for Florida ones since 2020. That's not the slightest bit surprising for 2 reasons. Number one, New Yorkers are always moving down here. Like, New Yorkers have a fetish for Miami. Like, the people I know who live in New York and, like, have never lived in Florida, because obviously I know some people who have moved back and forth, but I also know New Yorkers who have only lived in New York. And when I talk to them about Florida, like when I talk to them about how it can be the middle of January and it's 83 degrees outside, like they get aroused. Like it's incredible how New Yorkers, like the idea of living in Florida, and so many of them move down here, so there's nothing unusual about that. But then you throw in the factor of since 2020, bros, for like the first 11 months of the pandemic, like New Yorkers weren't allowed to leave their homes. Like they were like locked in their apartment buildings. Like, and listen, you know me, I take COVID very seriously, But obviously every state treats it differently. In Florida, and people may think that this was a mistake, but Florida has been relatively open compared to a lot of states. Like New York, it's like, bro, you're like locked in your home. Like so you have to understand that like a lot of people were like, wait, so it's 8 degrees outside, and I'm locked in my apartment, I can't leave, and I'm paying like $6,000 a month for rent here to live in like Manhattan or something. You're telling me I could be in Florida where I can walk outside right now. I'm actually allowed to leave my home, and it's 83 degrees outside, and, listen, you're not going to get any $600 a month waterfront apartments down here, but it is more affordable than, like, most of New York. So, listen, the idea of 33,500 people within the last year exchanging their New York driver's license for Florida driver's license, not surprising whatsoever, given what's been going on in that state. But, yeah, like Tony pointed out, the big bummer there is that a lot more Knicks fans have moved into the area. It is what it is, man. It's my struggle. So Jimmy Butler, we know, was really poor last night. He's been bad in this series. I gave him a pass game 1. I gave him a pass even though he shot horribly in game 1. I gave him the pass, though, because he was clutch hitting that layup to send it to overtime. At least he had a moment in game 1. Game 2, though, embarrassing, okay? And Jimmy Butler, over the course of this series, 13.5 points per game in these 2 playoff games. Like, Jimmy needs to be, forget 13.5, he needs to be over 23.5 here if the Heat are going to have a chance. Like, that he needs to be more like 28 points per game if the Heat are going to get through this series. 13.5 points per game. He's shooting 25% from the floor. Woof. 22.2% from 3. I mean, if anything, I'm not that worried about the 3-point percentage. Was taking too many threes, if anything. And here's the number, though, that's really, really head-scratching for Jimmy Butler. His plus-minus, minus 42. So when Jimmy's been on the court in these playoffs so far, the Heat have been outscored by 42 points with Jimmy on the floor. I can criticize Jimmy all I want to. You guys can as well. You know who else was criticizing Jimmy today? On First Take this morning. And this was like totally out of love, okay? Because Stephen A. Smith is a Jimmy Butler fan. Like Stephen A. sounded like sad that Jimmy is struggling this much. Here was Stephen A. Smith on ESPN this morning talking about Jimmy's rough series so far. Actually, let me set this up with the question Molly Karam asked him was if last night's embarrassing defeat was Jimmy Butler's fault.
He shot 4 for 22 in game 1. He shot 4 for 10 last night. And Jimmy Butler's, it has to stop. This is Jimmy Butler. Numbers don't matter. At the end of the day, it's about winning. I appreciate that because, remember, with Russell Westbrook, I took the opposite point of view. The numbers, a similar point of view. The numbers don't necessarily matter because I know you could do that already. Now you got to be winning instead of going home in the first round. In the case of Jimmy Butler, yo, bro, you the star. You the face of the franchise. You the face of the franchise. Enough of this, okay? This is the franchise that Zoe and Shaq and D-Wade and LeBron and those cats were at. You the new standard. And the reality of the situation is that Jimmy Butler has to show up and be Jimmy Butler. Enough of this passive stuff. Enough of this fitting in. You a star, okay? You might not be a superstar because, like I said, there's levels to this. LeBron and guys like that are on another level. But damn it, you showed, especially in the NBA Finals, that you're on an elevated level when you want to be. You got to want to be every night come playoffs. Enough of this 4 for 22 shooting or 4 for 10 and finishing with 10 points and we just trying to get things right. You Jimmy freaking Butler. Enough's enough. Stop playing.
I mean, I told you, like, he's passionate. Like, he loves Jimmy. And Stephen A. sounds like he's personally let down by Jimmy's performance. The funny part about it was, like, the clip went on and on and on, so I cut it off there after a while. Molly Karam exposed Stephen A. because she pointed out, like, Stephen A., you want Jimmy to be better because, Stephen A. travels to the NBA Finals every year. Like, he always, because First Take, they always go on the road to the NBA Finals. And she pointed out, Steve, you just want to go to Miami. Like, and she's right. Like, he is personally insulted by Jimmy Butler being terrible these first two games because he wants Miami to be one of the two cities that they travel to in the NBA Finals. They last year, I was going to say they went to Orlando last year, but they probably didn't. Like I doubt I don't think First Take took their show on the road in the middle of the pandemic last year. They probably just did everything remotely. But it's been a minute since Stephen A. 2014 would be the last time that they got to take First Take on the road to Miami for the NBA Finals. So, yeah, man, it's crazy. Devin Jordan in the chat writes, "Hey, Donno, it's about time for Heat fans to have an uncomfortable talk about Jimmy Butler." Well, okay, what do you want the talk to be? That we need to move on from Jimmy? I still think Jimmy needs more help is my big thing. Like, you want to talk about uncomfortable conversations. Another conversation that Stephen A. Smith has had, I hope he knows something. Like, I hope he's not just shooting from the hip here and guessing or speculating, because I do give him credit because before the summer of 2010, Stephen A. Smith was telling people, I think LeBron's going to go to Miami, and nobody believed him at the time. Like, very few people anyway. It was like Stephen A. Smith, and it might have been Chris Broussard, who was at ESPN at that time, were both saying, I think LeBron's going to Miami. Everybody laughed at them. Oh, no, he's staying in Cleveland. Why would he go to Miami? That makes no sense. It's ridiculous. And it happened. So Stephen A. sometimes actually knows things. He keeps bringing up Kawhi. He keeps bringing up Leonard as a possibility to land with the Miami Heat. I really would doubt that from where I sit because, especially if this team really gets humiliated by the Bucks here, if they get swept. Like, if I'm Kawhi, do I look at this situation and say, yeah, this team is a Kawhi Leonard away from winning a championship? I don't know about that. Last summer, yeah, you could have said that. Like, last summer, and Leonard obviously was not available last summer, but he might have said, after that finals run, he could have said, okay, this team is a Kawhi away. I can make this team a championship team just by showing up there. I don't think he would say that this year, and I think that's very important to Kawhi Leonard, and if he has doubts about that, I don't see why he would come here. But if you could, and I know that they could find a way to finesse the salary cap because Andy Ellsberg and Pat Riley are always doing that. Like, if you could find a way, and it's fantasy talk, I know, but if you could team up Jimmy with Kawhi, we're not going to have an uncomfortable conversation about Jimmy Butler because, the thing is, as much as I love Jimmy and he's one of the best players in the NBA, he cannot single-handedly put a team on his back the same way that a healthy LeBron James can or a Kawhi. He doesn't quite have that ability. Like, you need to team him up. And he can take this group very far, right? Like Jimmy elevates this team a ton, but he doesn't make the sort of difference that a Kawhi Leonard makes. And if you could team the two of them together, then yeah, this team would be incredible. I really have my doubts about it. I really do. And yeah, Devin writes in, yes, sir, Stephen A. did say Kawhi. I hope he knows something. Like, I hope Stephen A. is not just speculating and just throwing that rumor out there because he's been right about some of these things before. I hope he's getting concrete information here. The thing with Kawhi Leonard is, though, it's so unpredictable because you got to pay off that uncle of his. Like, who knows what he's got going on, that entourage. That's a weird thing to have to deal with. Rosendo writes in, agree, Donno. Why don't we talk about Tyler Hero and wondering if anyone has found him. He's been missing since last year. What did he play? 18 minutes last night, and half of it was in garbage time. My biggest regret is Riley pretending Tyler Hero is a superstar. I've never felt that's his ceiling. Yeah, I guess in the playoffs last year, there was a time he teased us, and we thought, oh, my God, you have to hold on to this kid with the jaws of life. But throughout this year, you've had multiple opportunities to make Tyler Hero part of a trade that gets you a superstar, and Riley continues to pass and pass and pass, and I wonder if he has any regrets. I don't know how close the Heat actually were to landing James Harden, but I do know they gave up on it, and I don't believe they should have given up on that as quickly as they did. Everyone was saying, oh, no, he's fat. He's not any good. It turns out he was playing possum in Houston. As soon as he left Houston, he lost 15 pounds the second he got off the plane in Brooklyn. He bamboozled you. He fooled you. And again, I don't know. Brooklyn were the favorites from the jump because that was the team he really wanted to go to. But I thought the Heat giving up on that so quickly was a mistake. I thought the Heat should have made a better effort to get Kyle Lowry. You ended up, what Riley ended up doing at the deadline was giving up virtually nothing for Victor Oladipo, and you get what you pay for. Damaged goods. The guy played, 3 games for you, and then finito. You haven't seen him since. We'll probably never see him again. We heard one report that came out a couple weeks ago about Oladipo saying, he had that quad surgery. That I'm not even sure if the Heat really approved him needing that surgery, but he had it. He's going out having surgeries, whatever he wants to do. But there was a report that Oladipo, might miss the entirety of next season as well. And then I saw a report today from Oladipo's doctor, the guy who performed the surgery, saying, no, I think he can be back by November. Well, okay. Don't you think the doctor that performed the surgery is probably going to give you the quickest timetable because he's trying to pump himself up? Don't you think the doctor that actually cut him open is thinking, I'm the best goddamn doctor in the world. This guy could be ready to play next week if he wanted to. Now, anytime you're talking about a timetable of recovery for Victor Oladipo, whatever the doctor says, you add 6 months to it, okay? If he says he's ready in November, he's ready by next June. I do not want the Heat to make any sort of a long-term investment in Victor Oladipo. You say adios to Oladipo. Gone. Let him become somebody else's problem now. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk some football. What happens now with Aaron Rodgers, and what happens with Julio Jones? And also, what do the Miami Dolphins need to have a double-digit win season this coming year and fight for the playoffs? We're going to talk with Antoine Staley from the Tallahassee Democrat when we come back. Hey, every Saturday at 11 a.m., soccer fans can connect with Austin Robillard and Red Card Radio. From the Premiership to the MLS, catch up with your favorite team, including our very own Inter Miami CF. Listen to Red Card Radio every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with Austin Robillard, exclusively at OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnSideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnSideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
Hey, Big O, what's going on? Listen, I just was telling your guy that answered the phone, Alex, it's just a pleasure, man, to get out of work and get in your car and be able to put on the radio and hear South Florida sports and not have to listen to some bull crap about another team from another state that you can give to a rat's ass about and sit there and have to go through all this other bull crap talk to, again, never hear them talk about your team once or twice in 20 hours. It's just an honor, and I wanted to thank you, man, for starting this thing up, man. It's balls to the walls. I love it.
Onside Zone with a Big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on OnSideRadio.com.
Inter Miami CF fans, join us at our new home this season for all away games as we broadcast live at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company, 1901 North Federal Highway in Pompano Beach. Join Big O and Alex Donno for the live pregame, halftime, and postgame shows while we watch the games. Enjoy meticulously brewed beer on site, delicious artisanal pizzas, live music, and giveaways. So, the new home for all Inter Miami road games is at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company at the Pompano City Mall, where they'll feature all the Inter Miami games. Follow them on Twitter at Dangerous Minds B and Facebook and Instagram at Dangerous Minds Brewing, and visit them at DangerousMindsBrewing.com.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m. only on OnSideRadio.com.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
Fish fans, time to reel in the latest news in baseball with OnSideRadio.com's Marlins Minute. Here's Alex Aguirre.
The Marlins continued to win at home after taking the first game of a 4-game series against the Phillies last night, 9-6. Trevor Rodgers wasn't as sharp as he has been in previous starts, walking 3 Phillies, but did go 5 innings and gave up only 1 earned run. The Marlins lineup peppered the Phillies pitchers, scoring runs in 5 of the 8 innings they went to bat, which included 4 runs in the 7th inning, capped off by a 3-run shot by Adam Duvall. Jesus Aguilar and Corey Dickerson chipped in with each collecting 2 hits and 2 RBIs. The win might have come at a cost for Miami as the injuries continued to pile on, as Brian Anderson exited the game with left shoulder soreness and Miguel Rojas was hit by a pitch. Let's hope the injuries aren't too severe and the Marlins continue to show their toughness in Game 2 with Sandy Alcantara on the mound tonight. First pitch is at 7:10. Let's go Fish.
Keep up with the latest on the Miami Marlins by subscribing on most platforms by searching Onside Radio.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit moretoadhd.com for additional information. That's moretoadhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Welcome back in, Man of the Match here on Onside Radio, taking you up until 6 o'clock. It's funny, our next guest pointed out on Twitter that we always invite him on 420, like at the time, 420, and honestly, I don't think I mean anything by that. Maybe, you know what, 420, good time to cut loose and have a good time, and I never have a better time than talking with Antoine Staley. And Antoine, it might have something to do with the fact that, you know, you and I, we end up talking a lot of food in addition to sports, so maybe it gives me the munchies. So maybe that's the reason behind the whole 420 thing. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Yeah, it's always easy to remember. So, like, whatever you invite me on, I know it's going to be at 420, so it's always good to know.
Oh, man, I love it. We love talking with you. There's a lot going on in the NFL. So we've been covering this whole standoff between Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, and Aaron was on SportsCenter last night on the Kenny Mayne farewell. And Rodgers, he said it in his words that his issue with the Packers, he says, has nothing to do with the Jordan Love thing. He said, quote, "It's never been about the draft pick. I love Jordan Love. I love the coaching staff. I love my teammates. It's just about a philosophy and maybe forgetting it is about the people that make things go," he said. Now, do you think he's being completely truthful about this not being about them drafting Jordan Love? Now, because I'm sure that there's some truth in this, because when he talks about the philosophy, I think he hates that GM, Gutekunst. So I do think that there's some truth in that statement. But how do you unpack that? Do you think he really has no issue with them trading up to draft Jordan Love last year?
I think it plays a role, too, to be honest with you. Whenever you trade up to go get a quarterback in the first round, that signals to everybody that, oh, you think this guy's going to play eventually. He's going to be the starting quarterback of your team eventually. So I think that alone, that was probably what pushed him over the edge. And I think it's probably some other organizational things, too, as well as my favorite draft picks or not getting Aaron enough help. And we know about the Mike McCarthy saga that was there before they hired Matt LaFleur. And, like, he's seen it from this organization from outside in for a number of different years, even from the Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers perspective on his own, too. So, yeah, I think he's seen it from a lot of different angles. He understands that his time is going to come to an end eventually, and he wants to go out on his own terms. He wants to go somewhere where he can win and be somewhere he's going to be long-term, and he doesn't feel like that's going to be Green Bay. And, you know, I don't blame him. They might as well try to get out now while you can, while you still have some time left on your prime, instead of, you know, instead of playing and then he hits the wall and he's no longer the same player that he used to be, and then Green Bay will probably get rid of him.
Yeah, no, that's right. And, you know, it's been interesting for Rodgers because, you know, we all saw him having a good time on Jeopardy. He's even been petitioning to become the full-time Jeopardy host. I see him, like, you know, he always dates celebrities. He's with Shailene Woodley now, and I see them doing karaoke with Miles Teller and his supermodel girlfriend in Hawaii. Like, it looks like he's having the time of his life. Do you think there's any chance? I'm sure there's some chance, but, like, do you put a reasonable percentage on it that he might decide at the end of this standoff with Green Bay that if they refuse to trade him, is there any chance he just retires?
I mean, he could. Yeah, I mean, he is of that age. I mean, he's 37, so he could decide, you know what, I just want to, you know, retire, be with my beautiful wife, and, you know, just relax and chill. And, you know, I mean, he's already a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's already one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So, I mean, it's not like, you know, he's leaving that up in the air. I just think that he feels like it's probably unfinished business on his end. He wants to win another Super Bowl before his career is over. I think he's gotten close the last couple of years, and I think it'd be a real tragedy if he never got back to another Super Bowl. It'd always be like, what if, you know, with Aaron Rodgers, as opposed to at least with Brett Favre, at least Brett Favre went to 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
He lost the second with the John Elway, but, you know, with Aaron Rodgers, just that one Super Bowl, and that's it. I think people would just be talking about what if he had that second opportunity to win the Super Bowl, maybe he would be a top 10 quarterback of all time. But I think he's going to play. I just think it's probably going to take some time, and he's going to sit out OTAs and, you know, maybe some parts of training camp too as well.
You know, some people I'm sure would call Rodgers a diva. But do you think that? But honestly, like, do you think he has a point that he deserves better? Because, like, if I'm the Green Bay Packers, I treat this guy like royalty. Like, they should be bending over backwards within reason, right? Because obviously you don't want the quarterback to be controlling every aspect of the organization, but they're not necessarily treating him like the first ballot Hall of Famer he is. Do you think he deserves better, or is he complaining too much?
I think he's always deserved better. I always feel like they never put him enough good team around him at times. They're trying to now, but I feel like it was times under Mike McCarthy and, you know, early on that they just didn't put the best team. They just thought they'd be able to get far in the playoffs or possibly make a Super Bowl run because of Aaron Rodgers. And they surround him with subpar talent. And, you know, he would get them as far as he could, NFC championships or, you know, the divisional round. But it's not enough. You need talent around a great quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. So I think they've taken him for granted. And to be honest with you, I mean, the handoff between him and Brett Favre, I mean, a lot of these teams out here have been thirsty for quarterbacks for 2 decades. They've been looking for Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and they've been fortunate to have. I'm talking specifically about the Dolphins, but you could throw them in there. But they've been looking for great quarterbacks like this for a generation, and yet they ran it on 2 back-to-back, kind of like what the 49ers did too. So they've been fortunate, but it's always been a what if. Like, those guys should have won more Super Bowls than what they did instead of the 2 that they did.
Now, I want to talk Julio Jones with you as well, and my YouTube chat will kill me if I don't ask you about this from a Dolphins angle. Personally, I don't think there is a Dolphins angle. Like, but, you know, one of the big ones that people keep bringing up, well, what if the Dolphins, you know, put together a trade package that includes Devontae Parker? Like, do you think there's any chance? Because I just don't think this is something the Dolphins need, especially with his salary, Julio Jones. But is there any way that Chris Greer could maybe work out a package you think, yeah, they should bring in Julio Jones?
I don't think that's an option for them. I mean, obviously it would make the team better, but I think the Dolphins are set at wide receiver, especially would go get a Jalen Waddle and, you have the other receivers that you have. I think they're content with having a young team, a young receiving core there already, and having Devontae Parker. And look, Devontae Parker, we've known it. We've been out there, like, he's been injury prone for a better part of his career. But at the same time, now I think the Dolphins are to the point where they're not necessarily relying on him to be their number one option anymore. Right. And that actually might help Devontae Parker too. So, yeah, I mean, anytime you get a big-time free agent that's going to be available, Dolphin fans are going to sit here and say, oh, well, can we get him? What is it going to take to get him? That's always how it is. And for me, I just thought that I just don't see it. I just don't see it, especially with the Dolphins' philosophy where they don't necessarily want to pay players that are past the age of 30 $15.3 million a year. I mean, he has 2 more years left on his deal, but at the same time, I still see them, one, giving up draft capital for Julio Jones, and 2, also wanting to pay him that extreme amount of money. So I would probably say no. I think it's more along the lines of probably Dolphin fans don't want to see him in New England. Yes. So that's probably why they want him to get him instead of having him go to New England instead.
I was about to say that honestly, you're 100% right. I think one of the reasons why so many Dolphin fans are talking about trading for him is they do not want to see him go to New England, because from everything we're hearing, and I don't know for sure if these teams are interested in making the trade, but we're hearing from Julio's camp that he likes New England and he likes the Tennessee Titans. So do you think he ends up on one of those 2 teams?
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. I think the Titans definitely could use a big-time receiver, also, like a Julio Jones too as well. I mean, they already got a guy in A.J. Brown, but to have an alpha number 1 in Julio, that'd be amazing. Obviously, the Patriots, they've made a lot of upgrades offensively, getting a guy like Julio to complement that offense, and that'll help Cam Newton or Matt Jones, whoever the quarterback is, play that much better. The 49ers, I think, a team you can look out for too. The Ravens. I think the Ravens have been desperately needing a wide receiver for a really long time. And, yeah, they've drafted some guys, but nothing to the extent like a Julio Jones. Maybe the Eagles, but I don't think the Eagles are in the position to try to win now. And Julio wants to win now, and I think the Eagles, for me, are probably the worst team in their divisions. But, yeah, I definitely would look at a team like the Titans or Patriots or the Ravens, or maybe even the Chargers, quite frankly, to be one of the in the Julio Jones sweepstakes.
We're joined here by Antoine Staley. Does a great job writing for the Tallahassee Democrat, and I've known Antoine for many years. He's covered the Dolphins, he's covered the Carolina Panthers, and on the Dolphins, Antoine, I think one position where we're not necessarily satisfied on the offensive side of the football is running back. I think that it's worth pointing out that Myles Gaskin was really productive when he was on the field last year. I still thought that they could have upgraded at that position. They did add a running back in the draft, but it was Jared Dokes way in the 7th round. Do you think that they need more help there, or do you think the running game automatically gets better now that you're going to be stretching the field with faster wide receivers? How do you see that playing out? Do the Dolphins need another strong body at running back?
I could see them potentially drafting somebody. I mean, not drafting, but signing somebody when it comes to training camp.
Le'Veon Bell, you touching that one?
Depends on the price.
Yeah,
I might for the right price. Yeah, I mean, he comes dirt cheap on a 1-year deal. Yeah, I think that might be a good option for the Dolphins there. I mean, he lives in South Florida in the off season, so I think that's a really good possibility. I know Todd Gurley is still out there. It's a lot of guys with some knowledge on there, but at the same time, if you could bring in maybe a veteran presence for a minimum amount of money, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with it. I think the Dolphins wanted to address it in the draft. They wanted to get Williams from North Carolina, but the Broncos ended up jumping in front of them because they knew that's what the Dolphins were going to do. So, you just play the board how it is, and it didn't work out for them, and they ended up taking, Holland from from Oregon. The Dolphins got a really good safety there, who I think is going to be a really key asset to their defense for years to come. But, yeah, I think it's if you find a need, maybe like a Le'Veon Bell who can probably help out the passing game with Tua and be a security blanket, I think that'd be good. But otherwise, then I wouldn't necessarily force going to get somebody just because you're trying to make some kind of move there. You can kind of rely on your running back that you already have.
Well, really good stuff here as always from Antoine Staley. Thank you so much, Antoine, and I hope everybody checks out your work in the Tallahassee Democrat, and make sure you follow Antoine on Twitter at Antoine Staley, ANTWAN. Antoine, thank you so much for taking the time, and enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
Anytime, Donald. Take care.
Good stuff as always there by Antoine. Now, Antoine brings the knowledge. Nothing terrible about that. It is a Terrible Take Tuesday, though, here on Onside Radio. And Terrible Take Tuesday is brought to you by Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurants. Oh, the brats, the Wiener Schnitzel, potato pancakes, pretzels with mustard, and lots of German beer. You get all this and more at Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurants in Pompano Beach. We have more to come until 6 o'clock here on OnsideRadio.com. I want to step into the roundtable when we come back. You know, I do want to circle back later on into just the awesomeness that was Spencer Knight in the Florida Panthers net. But I do want to circle back to the Miami Heat because we're going to sit down at the roundtable and talk about what went wrong last night and what this Heat team needs to try and turn this series around. So we have that and more coming up next. Hey, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., Sean Stanley hosts the Squared Circle Digest. Now wrestling fans have a place to call home as Sean covers the very colorful world of wrestling. Tune in every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on the home for sports fans worldwide, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
When protecting your family is your priority, there's nothing more important than the roof above the people you love. At Onside Radio, we recommend Chase Roofing and Contracting. At chaseroofing.com, they care about the customer. Chase Roofing provides reliable roof installation and repair without the destruction to our environment. Chase Roofing is powered by Tamara, who is owner and operated for 18 years. chaseroofing.com is Google top rated and a AAA standing with the Better Business Bureau. Open 24/7. Call them today. Trust chaseroofing.com to fortify and protect what's most important to you, your family. If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Now that it's springtime, it's only getting hotter here in South Florida. Make sure your AC in your home or business is running smoothly by investing in a preventative maintenance plan from M&S Air Conditioning. And M&S is a Mitsubishi Diamond Elite contractor. When you purchase a new Mitsubishi electric mini split system, you'll get a 12-year warranty. Or install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit that captures and destroys biological contaminants to improve air quality. M&S Air Conditioning have been providing prompt, honest, and reliable service for over 30 years. Schedule service or call to get more info on our preventative maintenance plans. Call 954-421-3680 or visit ac-florida.com.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
A great night for the Florida Panthers thanks to Spencer Knight. Panthers stave off elimination, now trailed the series 3-2 after a 4-1 win last night. Knight had saved 36 shots on the night, and Mackenzie Weegar and Patrick Hornquist had goals. Game 6 in Tampa tomorrow night, puck drops at 8 p.m. Miami Heat had a game last night. They fall to the Bucks 132-98. Dwayne Dedman led the Heat in scoring with 19 points. The Heat were down at one point, 46-20 to end the first quarter. Game 3 is at the AAA Thursday night. Tip-off is at 7:30. The Miami Marlins keep winning after a 9-6 victory last night. They are now one game back of the New York Mets for the division lead. Game 2 of the series tonight, first pitch at 6:40 with Sandy Alcantara on the mound for your Fish. You're listening to South Florida's only locally owned sports talk station, Coming up, it's more of the Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here at OnSideRadio.com.
Riddle me this. With all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich. Papa John's.
My daughter Brinley is here at St. Jude. Coming here was literally life or death, and it was so scary. But St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life. And that gave us hope. We haven't received a single bill from St. Jude, so I really can just focus on what's best for Brinley.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Last night's Heat 132-98 loss in Milwaukee was really demoralizing, and for me anyway, unexpected. I know that I was looking at one side of the coin after Game 1, and that was, hey, look how poorly Bam and Jimmy shot in Game 1, and you were still in overtime. You lost the game in OT by 2 points. If they figure it out, you can beat the Bucks in Game 2. And I know the Bucks fans on the flip side, they said, hey, we shot awfully from 3 in Game 1. If we can just drain a few threes, we're going to have no problem in Game 2. Well, point Bucks fans, because Milwaukee, they hit 10 3-pointers in the first quarter. This game was over in 3 minutes. Like, Milwaukee in 3 minutes had a double-digit lead, and then the Heat were toast 3 minutes into a 48-minute long basketball game. It was really demoralizing, and you've got problems, bro, when your best scorer, your top scorer last night is Dwayne Dedmon with 19 points. When Dedmon Walking is your top scorer in a game. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm disparaging Dwayne. He's been great since he's been here, but he has no business being your top scorer in a playoff game. He should be your 5th or 6th highest scorer at best in a playoff game. It's bad news. It's terrible news. So the roundtable for today, they say an NBA series hasn't started until the home team loses. After last night's debacle, Miami finds itself down 0-2 in this best-of-7 series versus the Bucks. Do you still have faith the Heat can win the series, or are they overmatched and don't have the right pieces to advance? Let me address the first part of that. It's a common cliche, but kind of a dumb cliche. They say an NBA series hasn't started until the home team loses. You do realize Milwaukee doesn't have to win a game on the road. They can win this series just by winning their home games. So, I mean, is that really accurate? Like, Miami can win the next 2. Milwaukee, they've got 4 out of 7 at home. All they have to do is win their home games. I can remember, and maybe it's happened to Miami since, but I can remember all the way back in the summer of 2004. That was Dwayne Wade's rookie year, when the Heat had a first-round series against the New Orleans Hornets. That's what they were at the time, before the Pelicans, before the Hornets moved back to Charlotte. The Heat had a 7-game first-round playoff series against the New Orleans Hornets. The Heat were the home team in that series, and the home team won every game. Miami Heat won 4 at home, Hornets won 3 on the road, and the Heat advanced. So ever since then, and that was like 17, 18 years ago, I thought that cliche was kind of ridiculous. They say an NBA series hasn't started until the home team loses. Guess what? Miami don't have home court advantage. They're the ones who've got to win a goddamn road game here, and they haven't done it yet. As far as the Heat being overmatched in this series, unfortunately, it's true. And we talked about it. Cocky Heat fan thought rinse and repeat. Cocky Heat fan thought, oh, hey, you beat the Bucks in 5 last year. You defended Giannis really well. This year's just going to be a carbon copy of last year. They're going to struggle against the Heat the same way that they did in the bubble a year ago, ignoring the fact that Milwaukee actually made their team better while the Heat got worse, unfortunately, because Jay Crowder was massive in that series last year. Miami Heat didn't want to pay him. Miami Heat were saving salary because they thought they might be able to sign Giannis Antetokounmpo. Guess what? You lost Jay Crowder to Phoenix, and Giannis Antetokounmpo re-signed in Milwaukee. We got nothing. We get nothing and like it, like Judge Smales would say. So here we are. The Milwaukee Bucks got better with the Drew Holiday trade. Giannis Antetokounmpo is better than he was last year. This Budenholzer character, I still would take Eric Spoelstra over Budenholzer 7 days a week and twice on Sundays, but he might actually be getting a little bit more comfortable as head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. And so, yeah, I do believe that the Heat are overmatched here. I do not think the Heat can match player for player, punch for punch, what Milwaukee can throw at you. What I was hoping for was two things. Eric Spoelstra clearly out-coaching Booty, and it hasn't happened, at least not yet. And I was counting on, you knew they weren't going to be the best player in the series, either of them, but I was counting on Jimmy and Bam being the second and third best players in this series after Giannis Antetokounmpo. And you know what? If Jimmy was truly extraordinary, he could even be the best player in this series, because I thought Jimmy Butler was better than LeFraud James was in the finals last year. The problem was the Lakers were the much better, deeper team in those finals, and the Heat, didn't have a healthy Goran and Bam either in that series. So yeah, it wouldn't even be crazy to say that if Jimmy was being Jimmy, he could be 1A or 1B best player in this series, and that you could have two of the best three players in the series along with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Instead, Jimmy and Bam have been on a milk carton. So it may be too late. Right? I mean, teams have come back from down 0-2 in series before. The Heat did it in the NBA Finals in 2006. They were down 0-2 to the Dallas Mavericks. You didn't have any performance in that series, though, that was as embarrassing as Game 2 last night against Milwaukee. Quite frankly, what the Heat did last night was, I think, and I've watched basically virtually every playoff game the Heat have ever played in franchise history, because I've been a fan since day one. I don't think I've ever seen a worse performance in a playoff game than the one we got last night. That was brutal. So how could I have confidence? Coming out of what happened last night, how could I be confident whatsoever that the Heat are going to come back to win this series? So listen, if Jimmy and Bam were extraordinary, they haven't yet been that. There's still time. If you could get more performances from Goran and Duncan like you got in Game 1, where the two of them, they carried the Heat, right? Because Jimmy and Bam were bad Game 1. Goran and Duncan were special in Game 1. Tyler Hero can actually show up. If Dwayne Dedmon's not your leading scorer in a game, no disrespect to Dwayne. I like what he's contributed here to the Heat, but he can't be your top scorer in a playoff game. The Heat are they're overmatched, but it's not impossible for them to get back in this. But how could I have faith coming off a 34-point beatdown that they can get themselves back in this series? And they're down 0-2. That's a big hole to climb out of. Here's the good news. Whether you lose the game by 4 or 34, it only counts for one loss. So at the end of the day, Milwaukee's 34-point victory margin doesn't carry over into the next game. But the Heat are backed up against a wall. They have to come out swinging. 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Marla writes in, Udonis Haslem's turning out to be a mercenary. We might have to bring Udonis Haslem into a game. Like, I'm serious. If you're going to get such little life from, 8 out of the 9 players you're putting out on the floor, you might want to consider pulling a weekend at Bernie's and digging up Udonis Haslem and throwing him out there. At least Udonis is going to give you some fire. Honestly, I would rather get a creaky, rusty old Udonis Haslem who's actually going to show some passion than what I saw from Bam Adebayo in the first 2 games of that series. Udonis probably deserves that opportunity more right now than Bam Adebayo does. So I honestly would not be opposed with bringing Udonis out there to set the tone a little bit in these games. All right, we're going to wrap up the 4 o'clock hour when we come back. Onside Radio enters Kai's Corner with Kai Chen Chisholm every day from 10 a.m. to noon. You can join Kai as he discusses the biggest stories in South Florida sports. Tune in every day, 10 a.m. to noon, for Kai's Corner on the home for South Florida Sports Talk, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
She's kind of young, so I don't know. She may not be into Van Halen much. Let's see. Hey, Ruthie, good afternoon. Are you a Van Halen fan?
You know, I just had to Google Van Halen. I'm not going to lie to you. I just literally have it on my computer right now.
The Onside Zone with Big O. Weekdays 11 to 1 p.m. Only on OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and ginger. Captain and ginger. He was a captain and ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, welcome back in, Man of the Match. Huge thanks to Antoine Staley, who's joined us, Dave Dwork, who joined us in the 3 o'clock hour. We're going to talk with the coach, Thomas Rongen, at 5 o'clock, talk a little Inter Miami MLS with him. Huge shout out to everybody who's in the YouTube chat. Make sure, guys, if you're in there, don't forget to smash the like button. Hit the thumbs up button. It does us a big favor. And make sure, by the way, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, Onside Radio. But if you're in here watching us live, smash the like button, because the more likes we get, the more suggested views we get for other YouTube users. You know, we can finesse that algorithm, and you can make us more visible. You can make Onside Radio more visible to the masses, because we've only been around for about 7 months now. And whenever you're in a relatively new venture like what we're doing here at Onside Radio, I'd like to say that the people who listen to us and watch us every day enjoy it and we have a great time. But the big challenge when we're so new is just spreading the word, man. Like, just making more people aware of what we're doing, because it's not easy. It takes time to build it. The more grassroots promotion we can get, the more people can share it with your friends, share it with people who you think might be interested in what we talk about every day. And like Elon Musk would say, we take it to the moon. We take Onside Coin to the moon, my friends. Blast it off. Enrique, who's in the chat, says, happy to see the Panthers win Game 5. At least they're showing some heart. What a performance by Spencer Knight. Can't say enough superlatives about what the kid did in net yesterday. He was just absolutely incredible. 20-year-old goalie. What would you say, Alex? Because I figure you probably grew up playing baseball, right? Like, do you have, because for Spencer Knight, 20-year-old Spencer Knight, I know this guy won a gold medal in the World Juniors before. He played some big games with Boston College. But nothing can compare to getting a W in your first NHL playoff start. So that is the biggest achievement of his athletic career to this point. You guys who listen, you all know my biggest achievement. I had my own flu game when I was 13 for my club soccer team. You know, I'm way tougher than Victor Oladipo. I had like 102 fever, and I played anyway because you can't stop me, man. You can't stop my competitiveness. And I went out there and I had a really good – I didn't score any goals because I played center back, but I played really well with 102 fever. My dad gave me a big hug. I think I made him sick after he hugged me, but my dad gave me a big hug after this game. That was my crowning athletic moment. Also, there was the other time when I was in college and I was a great beer pong player. And my beer pong partner, Rudy, and I, we won 17 straight beer pong games. We were like the 72 Dolphins of beer pong. It was incredible. And the thing is, like, even when you win in beer pong, because we had some overtime games, we had some close games, you still have to knock down some beers even when you're winning. And we were so smashed, man, because we couldn't leave the table. Because when you win, you stay on the table, you play the next game. That was my crown. I think that was even bigger than my flu game. I think that was my crowning athletic achievement. 17 consecutive beer pong victories, and we never lost. Like we got to 17, and it was like 3 a.m. We just decided it was time to go home. Somebody gave us a ride because we were like too smashed to walk straight, let alone drive. But it was great. Like Alex Aguirre, did you have like ever a great game growing up? Like your crowning athletic achievement would be what?
I don't know, pitching a no-hitter.
You did that?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord! I'm here
Like
bragging.
school,
I'm here
like
bragging about
school,
beer
though.
pong, and you pitched a freaking no-hitter?
Yeah,
dude.
Against the 13 and under Dominican national team.
No freaking way.
Yeah.
Were you playing for America or Cuba?
Playing for an academy team.
Oh, okay. So
down
you
here.
weren't playing for a
It
national
was an
team.
exhibition. Yeah.
So you're telling me an academy team beat the national team of another country, so they could get the best players from all over that country, and you still pitched a no-hitter?
Yeah, but it was like 6 innings. Like it's little kid stuff. Like 6 innings.
Still. That's really impressive.
And then I always like joke around with my family about this. In 4th grade, I was in cross country like in elementary and middle school, and in 4th grade I won the All Catholic Conference cross country championship race.
Oh man!
And I got first place, and like I think after that I just flamed out. I just never got the top 10 ever again. So I peaked in 4th grade and for cross country. Yeah,
that's great. So after you beat like all the Catholics, do you start like running against Lutherans and Presbyterians
the Jews and the Muslims? Yeah, we go against everybody.
He's the interreligional champion.
I mean, can you imagine they separate the like that can like actually piss off a lot of people. They separate like everyone just by like what religion they're in. Oh gosh, but no, yeah, like I went to a Catholic school, and like you just compete against the Catholic schools in South Florida.
Who do you think would be the toughest to beat? The Scientologists?
I think so, because they'll just like find an excuse not to participate and like just make you feel bad. Yeah.
Oh man, that's great. So I'm talking with the 4th grade Catholic cross country champion, and how old? 6th grade when you pitched the no hitter?
Yeah, 6th grade.
Dude, I'm seriously impressed. Like, no matter what the age group is, I would kind of put like pitching a no-hitter. I kind of put that like in the same realm as like hitting a hole-in-one in golf. Like it's impressive, man. No one can take that away from you. I can't. Even my 17 straight beer pong wins. I don't know if that can compare with what you accomplished, my friend. All right. So speaking of accomplishments, we're going to talk with a former professional footballer and a former high-level coach. Thomas Rongen is going to join us next to talk some Inter Miami. Thomas, who is a sports analyst for CBS Sports, BN Sports, and the Inter Miami CF Radio Network. He's going to join us next. Hey, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., Sean Stanley hosts the Squared Circle Digest. Now, wrestling fans have a place to call home as Sean covers the very colorful world of wrestling. Tune in every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on the home for sports fans worldwide, OnSideRadio.com.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding.
Whoa!
Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
When you want a perfectly straight smile without braces, you can count on MoodyasDental.com. A stunning smile is within reach. Learn more about Invisalign. Find out why so many trust the Moody-Ass family. Dr. Moody-Ass is an inventor and has several patents on innovative surgical instruments that are used around the world. Experience a family environment and trust on a worldwide level. From implants to crowns to a beautiful Invisalign smile. Call 305-821-0231. That's 305-821-0231. Or go to the website at MoodyAsDental.com.
Welcome back to Miami Sports Music for the Fans. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the Radio.net app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Hey, it's Toast. Last year when I had PGT custom windows and doors installed in my house by B&T Windows and Doors, I knew about the hurricane protection. What I didn't know? The silence. Oh my goodness, my house is so quiet now. One of those cars goes tearing down the street with the crazy loud muffler. Yeah, I don't hear it anymore. It's unbelievable. I didn't realize how noisy my house was beforehand. You've got to get PGT custom windows and doors installed in your pad today. Call B&T Windows and Doors, 954-233-0126. That's 954-233-0126.
Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com. Every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports. And when news breaks, catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the flagship station of Inter Miami CF, OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at Onside Radio. The viewpoints, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of Onside Radio ownership, management, sponsors, website, or Inter Miami Marketing, LLC. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, 5 o'clock hour, Man of the Match. Taking you up till 6 o'clock. That's when Stephen D, Miami Sports Music for the Fans, going to take over then from 6 until 7 o'clock every weeknight. Yeah, we were just talking about, in honor of Spencer Knight, Florida Panthers 20-year-old goalie, getting his first playoff start and freaking dominating. 4-1 win, stopped 36 shots, he gave up an early goal, which wasn't really his fault. It was a defensive mistake. But then he went, 59 minutes in 7 seconds without giving up any goals the rest of the way, which is crazy. We were talking about best athletic accomplishments, and Jay writes in on the YouTube chat, he once had 50 assists in a basketball game when in high school. 50 assists in a game. Like, did he take a single shot? That's like the opposite of when Kobe scored 81 points. All right, let's get into our conversation here. So happy to bring on the coach, CBS Sports, BN Sports. He's our Inter Miami color commentator here on Onside Radio on the Inter Miami CF Radio Network. Thomas Rongan joins us. Coach, hope you're having a good week so far. How are you?
It's been great, Donno. What about you?
I'm doing very well, and I saw the news this morning, and obviously it is noteworthy. I'm not really surprised by it that the Mexican national team has not included Rodolfo Pizarro for the squad for their upcoming matches. It's funny, Coach, because I was having a conversation, during the last game with a couple people at the watch party that we had at Dangerous Minds, and I was like, I'm actually surprised that they keep calling him up given his recent form. So, I mean, this can't be that surprising. I mean, Pizarro, if he wants more time for Inter Miami and if he wants more time on the national team, he's got to play better.
Absolutely. That goes hand in hand with selection of national teams. When I was the assistant coach in the 98 World Cup, we had some players that either just came back from an injury or players that didn't figure into starting for their clubs that we don't choose because of lack of game rhythm, obviously. And it's a bit of a telling tale if your club, in most instances, don't start you, which means there's been a decline, obviously, which it doesn't surprise me that he's not included in the Mexican national team, just like coaches make big decisions on players that are injured, be it Ramos with Spain, obviously, different set of circumstances, but also a guy that hasn't played, that's injured. In Pizarro's case, is a guy that has underwhelmed both for Inter Miami and also the last trip, I think, with the Mexican national team, he was subpar. So coaches draw conclusions and move on and go with informed players that play 90 minutes for their clubs.
Well said. We're joined here by Thomas Rongen on Onside Radio. Last week was one to forget, Coach, and we hope we can turn the page pretty quickly from this past Saturday's performance in Chicago. What went wrong in your eyes? Because they really, the players didn't look in sync. They seemed to struggle with Chicago's press. They struggled to build out of the back and really couldn't string two passes together. What could they have done differently?
Yeah, it's interesting, Donno. Yes, we've seen improvement over quite a few games, but there's been some concerning trends developed over the last few games, and I think that Montreal put maybe a little bit of a blueprint out there, understanding now what Miami tries to do. Miami tries with Phil Neville to build, in particularly centrally through Gregory and Matuidi, starting sometimes with their goalkeeper and their two center backs. And Montreal's high press and disrupting that and not allowing Miami to establish any kind of rhythm as they did against Nashville, for instance.
Right.
And Fire took a page out of that book and said, we're going to do the same thing. Press high, be athletic, be dynamic, get in their face and turn balls over, and don't allow this team to establish any kind of fluidity, which happened. I mean, not a dynamic enough on both sides of the ball. Matuidi, probably his worst game that we've seen him on both sides of the ball as well. Couldn't win his 50-50s. Didn't seem to be a plan B. The plan B became somewhat direct, but if you play direct, Donald, you got to win second balls.
Yes.
And we didn't win most of those 50-50s as well, so it kept coming back at us. Neville made two changes at the half. Breck Shea, I think, only had 8 touches in the first half. Figal came in with the knowledge that LGP with his yellow will not play in this game against DC United to get Figal probably some minutes. Tweaked the system, went to 3 in the back, and they got a little better. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't good enough, which makes this next game huge. Let's be real honest. We haven't won at home.
Yep.
Lost 2. Devastating loss against Montreal and against the Fire, and not only losing, but in a fashion that was very deflating. And now you're in a must-win in front of hopefully 20,000 people. And this could be a defining moment in the season for this team. Stay in that top half and fight for a playoff spot, or again, fighting to get into a playoff spot for the rest of the season. So a huge game. And after a very poor performance that Neville will, is Federico the answer? He pulled them after a while. Is there a lifeline for Pizarro all of a sudden? Is there, is Blaise Matuidi is what he is and can't reach the level he reached in Europe? I mean, he struggled also with the ball, where he normally is pretty good and can't win any 50-50s. You get the Robbie Robinson injury again that leaves question marks. How will McCarthy respond after an howler? Who is our right back or left back, for that matter, who were both poor again on the day? Where's Lewis Morgan, with the exception of one game when he scored that goal? 32 touches, where last year those touches were in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and he was our dynamo. So a lot of questions to ponder. I think they will respond. That's one of the things we've seen under Phil Neville. It will be very interesting to see what the tactics and the system is going to be going forward.
Yeah, I think they'll respond. I mean, not only because, to me, they're better than what they showed this past Saturday.
Yep.
Like you mentioned, the team is obviously inconsistent, but they've tended to kind of alternate bad performances with good ones. And another thing you mentioned, the crowd is going to be incredible here. I'm sitting in the stadium right now here at Drive Pink Stadium, and I've heard how loud this place can get when it's at half capacity, and I know that at full capacity it's going to be something really special, and hopefully they can feed off of that crowd, Coach. But what do you think needs to happen against DC United for Inter Miami to set the tone in this game and finally win a home game this year?
Yeah, I mean, again, we face now some desperate teams in Cincinnati and Chicago. We're at home. We're a little bit of a desperate team to get a result, a win at home as well. DC United has been plagued by injuries. They are in a surge mode of what is their best team under a new coach as well. They still have quite a few players that can hurt you, be it Andy Nahar, be it their right-sided player that was injured with a knee injury that plays normally for the U.S. national team. I can't remember his name right now. But they got some players that can hurt you, and there's some similarities. Younger, aggressive team that we normally don't deal well with. But, hey, we were flat, which won't happen against D.C. because of the crowd, obviously. That's important. We were never mentally or emotionally in this game from day one. And then technically and tactically we were poor. And, again, against teams like that, we almost look like we're also physically not equipped to deal with the dynamics of most of the opposing players, whereas quickness and aggression and playing quick in tight spaces and switching the point of attack that we labor a little bit. But you're absolutely right, Donno. I think the right mentality from the opening minute, tweak your lineup a little bit, which is hard because there's still some injuries, and obviously the loss of Robinson is huge because he gives you that pace and being dynamic up front. So I expect, again, pretty much that same 11. The big question is, is Pizarro still part of the picture going forward or not? And I think Saturday's game will clearly show us that. If he goes back to Federico, we know what it means. If Pizarro might be included, because now there's no reason to say he's going to be with the Mexican national team. Big statement, again, of Phil Neville going forward regarding Pizarro. But, again, I expect a game that we can win. You want to go to 3 wins, not 4 losses on the year and 2 wins, and be a little bit in the same situation as last year, although we have improved without a doubt.
And, Thomas, Saturday is going to be a fun day for soccer fans. I mean, we have our game, Inter Miami, DC United is going to be, and I'm glad it's a later game, 8 p.m. start time, 7 o'clock pregame time, because our appetizer is going to be the Champions League final in the afternoon. Now, you know me. I hate the fact that it's an all-English final because I have to hear Premier League Twitter talk about how every other league is a farmers' league. They're the only league that matters. But still, I'm looking forward to this game. Man City, who finally get over the hump and get to a Champions League final against a Chelsea team that really performed so well in Europe this year. Who do you think comes out on top this Saturday between Man City and Chelsea?
I think it's going to be City. Chelsea's last 2 finals, by the way, Donno, were penalties.
Ooh,
Extra time and penalties. So I said 1-1 penalty win by Manchester City. It'd be very hard for one team that's somewhat equal or still a little less, I think, than Manchester City to win 3 consecutive games. They've beaten City twice now, FA Cup and in the regular season, although if you look at the last few games after that, City is more informed than Chelsea is, and Chelsea was very lucky to make it into the top 4 because they lost in their last game but got help from Tottenham that obviously beat Leicester City, that made another, poor outing in the later stages of the season. 2 consecutive years they dropped out of the top 4 in the last 4 or 5 games by Brendan Rodgers. So they got Chelsea. I expect a good footballing match. You're right. Excuse me. Check out Inter Milan next year. Check out an improved Barcelona next year, or even Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid. Check out Bayern Munich next year, PSG for that matter. So, yeah, let's pick those English guys down, but an English team will win the Champions League, and this year correctly so. They've been, over the course of the Champions League, the 2 better teams, especially in the later stages.
Now, Coach, the European domestic league just wrapped up, and Juventus got so lucky. They got so lucky that Napoli let them off the hook. All Napoli had to do, and they were heavily favored. They'd been in tremendous form. They just had to beat LS Verona, who's been awful lately. Like that team, Verona were really good for like the first half of the season. They've been on a milk carton lately. All Napoli had to do was beat those guys, and they couldn't do it. They choked. So Juventus, by the skin of their teeth, qualified for Champions League. Still, it looks as though Cristiano Ronaldo is on his way out, which I actually think is good for Juventus because that's going to take a lot of salary off their books, and they can reinvest that in the club. Where do you think Ronaldo ends up, though, is the big question.
It seems like that Man United has some interest, and it makes sense for both parties, I think. Is PSG an option? Financially, they could afford him, but do you want to have Neymar, Mbappe, and Ronaldo on the same team? You need 3 balls, basically, and 3 alpha males that want to dominate. So I don't know if Pochettino and Leonardo want to do that. Does he go back to his old club, who, by the way, won it this year, so they are in the Champions League? I doubt it, Porto. That leaves Real Madrid as an outside, depending on, again, what Zidane is going to do. Zidane might walk, which I think he will. Is Allegri Juve's next coach, or do they continue with Pirlo? Those are all big question marks. I think Ronaldo will go. And if I was a betting man, which would be awesome for him and for Man United, because he was loved at Man United by the fans, obviously, reunion maybe with Man U and Pogba going the Juve way maybe.
By the way, speaking of being a betting man, since I'm having like withdrawals since the European leagues ended, I'm looking for things to bet on today, and I got to tell our buddy Fernando El Presidente, I bet on River Plate today, and I have not watched them play a second of soccer all season long, Coach. But they've got a Libertadores matchup today. I can't even remember who they're playing, but I put some money on River Plate, so I'm hoping I'm going to be as big a fan as Fernando is today of River Plate.
They're 1 point ahead of Fluminense. They're playing Fluminense at home. That could be a pretty good bet. I'm not sure where they are with the COVID players. They might still have a field player in goal, though, Donno, so I'm not so sure.
We'll see. We'll see how it works out. If it doesn't work out for me, you're going to see me yelling at Fernando in the group chat today if they don't win.
Exactly. maybe pick the Washington Spirit over the Houston Dash tomorrow in the NWSL.
I like it. You know what? That's good. I'm glad. I want to get some NWSL tips for you because I don't watch that league enough, but I would like to start betting more on it because obviously now with and the Euros are coming up in a couple weeks, so the void is going to be filled. But
I know.
Yeah, so it's good. And by the way, I'm sure in a couple weeks we'll have you on again to talk about the Euros because that's going to be a lot of fun. You guys want to make sure you're checking out all the great work that Thomas Rongen does. He's the color analyst here on Onside Radio for the Inter Miami CF Network. He does a great job alongside Chris Whittingham and the River Plate man himself, Fernando Fiore. You can also check him out on BN Sports and on CBS Sports HQ. And follow him on Twitter at @TRongen. Coach, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your week.
Donno, thank you, brother. And I don't know if the line is on Man United Villarreal, but you know what? Pick Villarreal.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good shout. I'm going to do that for this week. I'm going to lock that in. Thank you.
You got it. Take care.
Awesome stuff there from Thomas Rongen. So good. 844-416-8123 is how you text us. That's 844-416-8123. Have some really annoying entertainment news coming up. I don't like the direction Hollywood is going in. My advice to Hollywood, come up with some new ideas, okay? I'm going to explain why I'm so angry when we come back. Hey, Onside Radio enters Kai's Corner with Kai Chen Chisholm every day from 10 a.m. to noon. Join Kai as he discusses the biggest stories in South Florida sports. Tune in every day, 10 a.m. to noon, for Kai's Corner on the home for South Florida sports talk, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can now watch Onside Radio daily by subscribing to our YouTube and Twitch channels. Search Onside Radio. Log on, subscribe, rate, and review Onside Radio on YouTube and Twitch. Find out why Big O has a face for radio. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's home for real sports talk.
If you're looking for a change from the everyday restaurant, then you need to get to Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. Brats, Wiener Schnitzel, homemade potato pancakes, pretzels with mustard, and lots of German beer. Take their famous Boot Tour Challenge, and there's now outdoor seating available in their new beer garden with live music. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Checkers Old Munchin Restaurant, or call them for reservations or pickup at 954-785-7565. So get over to 2209 East Atlantic Boulevard in Pompano Beach to Zagat-rated Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty, to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Check this out. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, huge thanks again to Thomas Rongen for joining us. I think he and I are in agreement. I'm expecting a much better performance from Inter Miami this Saturday. The fans deserve it. I think they're going to get it. Obviously, I would have wished for better for the, I don't know how many exactly it was, several hundred, 1,000, but I saw so many great group photos of the supporters group members from Vice City especially. I'm sure the Southern Legion and the Siege sent delegations as well, but I saw this big group photo from Vice City in front of Soldier Field. Like, you guys are awesome. Like, the fans who actually travel to these games, especially the ones who travel to watch, what ended up being a really bad performance this past Saturday, you guys are awesome, unconditional with their support. That's what being, part of a supporters group is really all about, that you support the team through the good times and the bad, and that's fantastic. But still, you guys deserve better. And what we have coming up this Saturday here at Dry Pink Stadium, 8 p.m. start time, I'd recommend getting here as early as you can, okay? Because, none of us have been to a full capacity sporting event in like a year and a half at this point. Like, you may have forgotten the craziness, because anywhere you've gone in recent months, right? If you've gone to hotels and restaurants, tourist attractions, if you've been to like the theme parks in Orlando, nobody in recent months has been operating at full capacity. So, you probably forgot what full capacity is like, okay? I've been to enough packed sporting events in my life to know that, you want to get somewhere. This is just me. Maybe some of you don't mind, chaos, but I prefer, if I'm going to go to like a really jam-packed sporting event, I like to get out there a little bit early, so I think here's going to be my game plan. And obviously I've got access to our studios here in the stadium. If you're listening, you don't. Okay. But I'm going to get here like in time. Like, I'm going to get here super early. I'm going to watch the Champions League final from in the studio here. So I'm going to like stroll in here at like 2:45, 3 o'clock, watch the Champions League final, get ready for the broadcast, which we have from the stadium starting at 7 o'clock. So I can't wait. And the other thing, you show up early, you can tailgate a little bit with your friends, you can hang out, because this place is going to be packed in a way we've never seen. Because since Drive Pink Stadium has been open, we have not had the privilege and the opportunity, because of the pandemic, to have a full capacity game. We were supposed to have the home opener for the club March of last year, and literally 3 days before the home opener was when everything shut down. The NBA shut down, Major League Soccer got postponed, March Madness got canceled last year, the NHL, everything the same day, everything got halted. And when we came back, after a couple of months of a hiatus, when we came back, it was, empty stadiums everywhere. So we've never had the privilege and the opportunity to this point to have full capacity here at Drive Pink Stadium, and we have it for the first time. This is history. Everyone who shows up to this game is going to be a part of history. Like, you can never take that memory away, man. I mean, it's crazy because most of the teams we root for have been around for decades, if not for centuries. Right? If you're a fan of a big European soccer club, chances are the club you root for has been around since probably the 1800s, right? So you're talking about people like in like the 1890s were watching the first ever game in the stadium for a franchise. You guys, for those who show up here, it's not the first ever game, but the first full capacity game. You're going to be part of Inter Miami CF history forevermore. So let's make it loud. Let's make it enthusiastic. And, of course, let's hope the team does their part. I think they're going to bounce back. They've had some poor performances this year. This past Saturday was probably the worst, but they don't tend to have two poor performances in a row. They've been inconsistent, but we know this team is capable of better, and I think they're going to do better for you guys against DC United this Saturday. So I'm really, really pumped up for that, man, and I absolutely cannot wait. Here's something I can wait for. You guys know me. I'm a big fan, huge fan of the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Gene Wilder, gangsta. Oh, man, Gene Wilder was so good as Willy Wonka. If you want to view paradise. All the songs, all the mayhem. The original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, tremendous movie. And Alex Aguirre, you've seen that as well, right? You were a fan growing up. You give me the huge thumbs up. Big fan of Willy Wonka growing up. Then around, I want to say it was 04 or 05, they did that dopey remake with Johnny Depp. Great actor, terrible movie. It was disgustingly bad, the remake. So you would think Hollywood would learn. Do not mess with Gene Wilder. May he rest in peace. Do not mess with the original. Just let Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory stand alone and be an immortal classic forevermore. Hollywood doesn't learn, man. Reboots, remakes, no original ideas left in Hollywood. So here's what they're doing now. It's going to come out in 2023, so I don't think they've started filming this yet. But they are making a Willy Wonka prequel film. And it's going to star this dude, young actor, is going to play young Wonka, Timothy Chalamet. He was in the movie Lady Bird. Like, Timothy Chalamet, he always plays douchebags. Like, he was like the boyfriend who mistreated Lady Bird, and that I kind of liked that movie that came out a couple years ago. He was in the show Homeland. He played like the I don't know if he was like the president's kid or like the congressman's kid who dated the redheaded dude from Homeland's daughter, but he like ran over like a hobo and like killed a guy, and then he hit it. He always plays D-bags as Timothy Chalamet. And now he's going to be playing Willy Wonka in a prequel. He's going to play young Wonka. I'm so disturbed by this because you know this is going to be terrible. Like, you just know this is going to be bad. Because here's the issue I have with it. And Alex, tell me if you agree as another fan of Willy Wonka. You do not need a Willy Wonka prequel. Like, I don't need to know about Willy Wonka's background. What made Willy Wonka such a magical character was, I don't know what the hell this dude's backstory is. Like, that's the whole point. It's like, let me give you another example. Two very different genres, yes. But if you've seen the movie The Dark Knight, where Heath Ledger played the Joker, part of what made that performance and that character so intriguing was, you remember every time the Joker was asked, he says, you want to know how I got these scars? And every time he would tell a different story. So he's obviously lying out his ass. Like, you have no clue how did he become the Joker? What's his backstory? No idea. You never got down to the body of it. And it was great. Like, not knowing was part of the mystery. I would put Willy Wonka in the same category. What makes Willy Wonka such an intriguing character, because when Gene Wilder so brilliantly played him in that first movie, you're like, wow, this dude's a little creepy. This dude's a little neurotic. He's incredibly creative. He's a genius. He's a candy genius. I'd rather not know what made him this way. So now they're doing a prequel where I'm sure they're going to get into the whole backstory, the psychology of it. I'll tell you another character they ruined with a prequel. Hannibal Lecter. Oh, that one's been done to death, okay? Like, the original Silence of the Lambs movie, elite, 10 out of 10. So good. And part of it was you didn't know a whole lot about the guy, right? Then the second one that came out, Hannibal, was decent, not great, but decent. Part of the problem was Jodie Foster wasn't in the movie. Like, Julianne Moore, she's fine, but how do you make a Silence of the Lambs sequel and Jodie Foster doesn't play Clarice? It didn't really work for me. Then Red Dragon was it was all right. And then they've done like all these TV shows, but I remember like the worst movie in the Silence of the Lambs series was the Hannibal prequel show or movie. They done a prequel show as well. I don't know if it's any good. I haven't watched it, but they did a prequel movie called Hannibal Rising, and they told his entire backstory. It was boring. It was coma-inducing. Completely ruined the character. They're going to ruin Willy Wonka. I do not need to know Willy Wonka's backstory. Part of what makes Willy Wonka so great is not having an idea what made the guy so neurotic. I don't need them to over-explain that character. I don't. NorCal Doll fan says, Johnny Depp, I wouldn't call him a great actor. Rosendo says, Johnny Depp lived and went to school in South Florida. Yeah, I think he's from Miramar. I think that's the area that he was from, Johnny Depp. Yeah. I don't know. So I question that from NorCal Doll fan. He says, I would not consider him a great actor. I think he is pretty good, man. I mean, the versatility, like he was in Blow, he was in all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. He was he plays weirdos pretty well, Johnny Depp. I think he's a good actor. Now, his film selection isn't always great. He's done some clunkers. Like, the resume is not perfect, right? Part of the reason why Leonardo DiCaprio, for my money, is the best actor of his generation is the guy doesn't do any shit movies. Like, I think the only movie he was in that wasn't that great was The Beach. Like, you remember that movie? That was disappointing. Like, I wouldn't even say it was a terrible movie, but it was kind of bad. I think outside of The Beach, I don't think DiCaprio has been in a movie that's like less than an 8 out of 10. I mean, it's a home run. Everything with that guy is a home run. So the selection of the films he does is good. Johnny Depp strikes me as a guy who just loves cash and paychecks. Like, so great actor, but he's done some clunkers. I think I wouldn't call Nicolas Cage a great actor, but I think he's a good actor. He's done some terrible movies because the guy is like leverage. He's got all these castles he owns, all these properties. Like, Nicolas Cage has to say yes to every script he sees because he needs all the paychecks, man. It's crazy. Rafa in Miami says, Johnny Depp is an oddball, but he's a very good actor. By the way, didn't Amber Heard beat him up? Isn't that what she was accused of? Like, she kind of scares me. She was, she looked really good in Aquaman, Amber Heard. And you notice something weird, because she was in Aquaman, it was decent, with Jason Momoa. And then Amber Heard was in I don't know if she was in the original cut, but she was in the Snyder cut of Justice League that HBO Max put out a few months ago, which I know people complained because it was like 7 hours long, but it was decent. Like the Snyder cut of Justice League was, I'm not going to say it was a great movie, but it was so much better than the original. So at least I felt like, okay, we finally got the Justice League we deserved, because the first one was trash, okay? But the weird thing about it was Amber Heard, like she played Mira. That was her character in the Aquaman mythology. And she was in the movie Aquaman, and then she played the same character in the Snyder cut of Justice League. And for some reason, in the movie Aquaman, she just has her regular American accent, but in the Snyder cut, she had an English accent. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, how come she's British in one movie, same character, she's American in the other one? It was crazy. Christian Bale, great actor, says Rafa in Miami. Yeah, Christian Bale, he and DiCaprio are my co-favorites. I love the two of them. They're both fantastic actors. I would say unlike DiCaprio, not every Bale movie was great, because he was in that like really bad Terminator sequel, Terminator Salvation. That was probably not the best career choice for him. But yeah, for the most part, he's been in some good films. Like, he was really good. I thought Christian Bale's probably one of his best performances was when he played the crackhead brother in the movie The Fighter, where he played Dick Eklund. And it was crazy because I had a personal friend who unfortunately passed away a few years ago, Howard Davis Jr., former Olympic boxer. He was an Olympic gold medalist in 1976. And he knew those brothers personally, and he knew Dick Eklund, who was played by Christian Bale. And he told me after that movie came out, like, he was amazed. He's like, Bale was perfect. Like, he knew Dick Eklund personally, Howard did. And he's like, everything from the mannerisms, the way he walked, the way he talked, it was the most perfect Dick Eklund impersonation he'd ever seen. And so he was like so blown away by that performance. And it was the main actor in that movie was Mark Wahlberg, who played Mickey Ward, and like, Howard Davis, who knew both of them. Like, he knew Ward and he knew Eklund personally, and he told me, like, Mark Wahlberg, the performance was nothing special. Like, it was just like that was just Mark Wahlberg in a movie. Like, he didn't do anything that made him Mickey Ward, but Christian Bale, like, he became Dick Eklund on screen. Like, he was so impressed by that. I thought that was crazy. Oh, this is another good one. Rosendo writes in, Edward Norton is a great actor. He is, man. Oh, man. Like, American History X, an incredible performance by Ed Norton. Fight Club, unbelievable performance. I actually, a more recent performance of his that I really enjoyed. Some people hated this movie. I liked it as an actor-driven movie because I thought that some of the individual performances were so great. But, dude, Edward Norton was so good in the movie Birdman with Michael Keaton. Like, he played like the kind of the cocky stage actor who came in, to kind of save the performance. And, dude, like, he was so good in that movie. Like, he was neurotic, and like when he was pretending to be a Broadway actor, it was like a very convincing Broadway performance. Yeah, he's a great actor as well. Rafa in Miami says, you know who has always scared me? The Olsen twins. They frighten me. For the most part, they're out of the acting business, right? I think they have like a purse company or something. Like they made a lot of money, like in fashion, I think. But their younger sister, you guys probably know this, but their younger sister is Wanda in WandaVision and in the Marvel movies, which like really trips people out when they realize, oh my God, that's the sister of the Olsen twins. Like a lot of people don't know that. So that's crazy. But I think the actual Olsen twins are pretty much out of acting, if I'm not mistaken. I think the last time I saw either of the Olsen twins was I can't remember which one's which, but one of them, like, this was already more than a decade ago at this point, was in like a season of the show Weeds on Showtime, which was a really good show. And so like one of the Olsen twins like showed up for a few episodes, and I don't think, and that was as like a young adult, like probably 22, 23 years old. I don't think I've seen either of them since, man. Oh, another good one. Rafa in Miami writes, Jared Leto I, for some reason, find him as Johnny Depp light. Think he's overrated, Jared Leto. You know, I don't know. Like, you know what? I got to tell you, Jared Leto, do you know where he impressed me most? Have you ever seen his band, 30 Seconds to Mars? Like, he's actually a really talented rock singer. Like, that dude, like, you cannot deny multi-talented, like, really good musician. I've seen him live twice with that band. You can tell the guy is high off his mind on stage, though. Like, and I kind of respect it because it's the whole rock and roll thing. But you can tell, like, that dude is, like, completely, you know, he's baked off of his mind when he's on stage. But, now, what did I really like Jared Leto in? He's got a small role in American Psycho, Paul Allen. I thought he was really good. That's kind of what I think of him in. He like, you know, you want to talk about versatility. Like, he played a trans woman in the Dallas Buyers Club. I think he won an Academy Award for that movie with Matthew McConaughey. It was, I mean, you want to talk about showing your range. He was incredible in that. You know, I'm not a huge fan of his version of the Joker, but I don't know if that's really his fault or just the DC Universe's fault.
Have you seen Mr. Nobody?
No, he was in that?
You would like that.
Yeah?
I think so, yeah. He's also in the new Blade Runner with Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling.
You know,
he plays
dude,
a villain.
I have had that movie, the new Blade Runner.
I love that movie.
I have had that movie, like, and I could probably get it, like, on one of the streaming services I subscribe to at this point. But, like, dude, like, 3 years ago when that movie, like, came out for, like, sale, because I didn't watch it in theaters, but I've had that movie, like, I purchased it on iTunes, like, 3 years ago. I still haven't watched it. And, like, it's been, like, I don't know why. It's been, like, on my to-do list, because I'm a big fan of the original Blade Runner.
The original's so good.
Yeah, it is so good.
I love it. And I think the sequel is, like, pretty long. It's like almost 3 hours long, but
wow.
I mean,
I think that may be why I haven't watched it yet, because I saw how long it was.
I watched it, like, it wasn't as good as the first in my opinion, but like it's just hard to compare it because like it's a sci-fi movie, and sci-fi in the 80s is completely different from sci-fi from today.
Yeah.
So, but Harrison Ford was awesome, and seeing Harrison Ford in it was just great. Just revising his role.
Oh, do you know who's another insanely good actor? I don't think anyone in the chat brought this one up yet. Joaquin Phoenix.
He's amazing.
Baller, dude. Like, you know, his from Commodus in Gladiator, and then dude, he was in a movie a few years ago where he fell in love with Alexa, and I'm so convinced by the performance. You see that movie, Her?
Yeah.
Dude, it's like, dude, like
Scarlett Johansson.
This guy is freaking doing, and she was just as the voice, she was really good. But like, dude, like this guy is doing like these really deep, like conversational love scenes with basically Siri, and he's hitting it out of the park. I was so impressed by that. And then in the Joker movie, I mean, God, what a depressing movie. I mean, I was really like moved by it. I saw it in theaters, like, you know, 2 years ago, whenever it was that it came out. I haven't watched it again, but it's only because I don't want to be depressed, because it was so well done. But man, the scene, and yeah, I don't want to spoil it. It was definitely the most alarming scene in the film when he's on, like, you know, the bootleg Tonight Show, basically with Robert De Niro, and you know the way that scene played out. But like that acting, he kept saying Murray, and then, you know, ended up what happening in the scene that happened, and there was just unfreaking real. All right, so we've had man, I don't know how we started from the Willy Wonka prequel, The World Did Not Need, getting into some of the best actors in the world. Enjoying it. Oh, Rafa in Miami says, I think Ryan Gosling is very good as well. I like him. You know what? To me, the performance I was most moved by from Ryan Gosling was in the movie Drive. Because he has like 5 lines in that entire film.
They're the best movies.
He
sometimes
carries it.
Yeah.
But like, to be that good of an actor, just like acting with your eyes and with your facial expressions, because he was, you know, he played this like strong silent type and barely spoke in the movie, and he just carried the film. He was so good in that movie.
Have you seen The Place Beyond the Pines?
No, but I've heard he was really good in that.
Amazing. He plays a strong type, but he's more outward.
Okay.
He's like he plays one of those like crazy motorcycle guys that like does tricks and carnivals and stuff inside the cages.
Oh, nice.
So he plays one of those bad boys, Yeah. So, but it's a really good movie. Great cast as well.
I love that. All right, so we're going to continue the 5 o'clock hour when we come back here on Onside Radio. Hey, over the last 30 years, South Florida fans have always been able to count on one radio show that gives you the brutal honesty you need. Orlando Alzigari and the Onside Zone, daily from noon to 3 p.m. And oh, by the way, he's doing a lot better. He's going to be ready to come back on Friday. He's doing great. I know people keep asking, and it's awesome you guys are concerned. He had a little procedure last week on his throat, so he hasn't been able to talk. He hasn't been allowed to talk. I think he can if he wanted to, but doctor's orders, he's got to save the voice, but he's going to be ready to come back on Friday. The Onside Zone, daily from noon to 3 p.m., exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnsideRadio.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Get the brutal honesty every day with the Onside Zone with a big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on your home for sports talk in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
It was a great night for the Florida Panthers thanks to Spencer Knight. The Panthers stave off elimination and now trail the series 3-2 after a 4-1 win last night. Knight had 36 saves, and Mackenzie Weegar and Patrick Hornquist had goals. Game 6 is in Tampa tomorrow night, and puck drops at 8 p.m. The Miami Heat had a game last night, and unfortunately they fell to the Bucks by a big margin, 132-98. Dwayne Dedmon led the Heat in scoring with 19 points and 9 rebounds. The Heat were down 46-20 at one point after the first quarter. Game 3 is at the AAA on Thursday night. Tip-off is at 7:30. The Miami Marlins keep winning after a 9-6 victory last night. They are now only one game back of the New York Mets for the NL East division lead. Game 2 of the series is tonight. First pitch is at 6:40 with Sandy Alcantara on the mound for your Fish. We're listening to South Florida's only locally owned sports talk station. And coming up, it's more Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here at OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
When you're tired of watching the sun damage your furniture or raise your electric bill, it's time to do what we did here at OnsideRadio.com studio. Call A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie and Sunrise. A Shade Above Window Fashions has a great selection of blackout shades to choose from. We can almost create a complete blackout for your bedroom or media room. Call them at 954-434-4774. That's 954-434-4774. Love the space you live in. A Shade Above Window Fashion.
Look out, world! We're getting
strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Somebody on the text line pointed out another awesome actor, Joe Pesci. And I thought a really good recent performance from Joe Pesci was in the movie The Irishman, because like he held back so much, and like the entire movie we were all kind of waiting for him to blow his top, because that's like the Joe Pesci thing, right? Goodfellas, Casino, the guy would blow his top and start yelling, and like you were kind of waiting on when's that going to happen in The Irishman. And, like, he never did. It was, like, a really measured, understated performance. It was really, really good. All right, when we come back, my friends, we're going to hand it off to Stephen D., Miami Sports Music for the Fans. Excellent show. Newest show on this radio station every night from 6 until 7 o'clock. This has been a fun Terrible Take Tuesday. And Terrible Take Tuesday is brought to you by our great friends at Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. If you're looking for a change from the everyday restaurant, you need to get to Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant at Pompano Beach. Everything there is great, guys. And in fact, if you're looking for a spot for dinner tonight or to grab some beers, I can highly recommend Checkers. Brats, Wiener Schnitzel, homemade potato pancakes, pretzels with mustard, and lots of German beer. And with daily beer specials, daily specials of all kinds, there is something for everyone. If you're up for a challenge, take their famous boot tour. Finish 30 boots of different varieties of German beer, and you will receive half price on their beer for life. And you'll get to take home your own boot and a Checkers Old Munchin t-shirt. I have both those things, and they're awesome. They also have outdoor seating available in their new beer garden. They have live music out there, which is great, as well as carry-out, curbside pickup, and delivery. So for the finest German beer, get over to 2209 East Atlantic Boulevard in Pompano Beach. The beer and the food is delicious. Follow them on Instagram and on Facebook at Checkers Old Munchin Restaurant, or call them for reservations at 954-785-7565. I'm a huge fan, and Matt, the owner, say hi to Matt. And by the way, Matt's going to be coming by. He's going to come to studio tomorrow, and I hope Alex and Nordy are hungry tomorrow, because he's going to bring some of that amazing German food by. We're going to have a nice visit with Matt. The guy is a fanatic of the South Florida teams. You know, when you go out to Checkers and you find Matt, he is one of the dudes. You can talk Canes with him, Inter Miami, Florida Panthers. He is passionate about the South Florida teams. We will see you at Zagat Rated Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
We always have fun every night, 6 to 7 o'clock. with Stephen D and Miami Sports Music for the Fans. Steve, I hope all is well with you, my friend. How are you?
I am doing okay. I'm doing a lot better than that stupid Heat game last night.
Oh,
but I'm doing okay.
Well, listen, I hope that you were like me and you focused most of your time on the Florida Panthers because we had an incredible performance in net by Spencer Knight. The Panthers, I'm not going to say it eliminated all the hurt because the Heat they were historically bad last night, but at least the Panthers were able to give me something to be happy about yesterday.
I know we only have a couple minutes, but man, you know, I just don't understand why they didn't execute going to Spencer Knight earlier in this series. It doesn't make sense to me because he was so good last night. And you have to think that at the end of the day, that's something that, you know, the coach knew. Like, I don't understand why they didn't execute going to him earlier in the series.
Yeah, you know, I talked about that earlier, and like I know people are going to question it. I just think that what it came down to was he's so young and so inexperienced. And, you know, like throughout the regular season, like Drieger was really good and Bob Brovsky had been better lately. So, I mean, honestly, like I don't think anybody, including Coach Q, expected Drieger and Bob to be as bad as they were. So, listen,
They've been
bad,
they've been terrible, historically bad.
So, like, I'm at the end of the day, like, I'm glad that Coach Q actually figured out even in Game 5 to start the kid, because I guarantee you, Steve, there are some coaches out there who probably wouldn't have that wouldn't have even done it. Like, even though, you know, I mean, with how bad Bob and Drieger were, it made the decision kind of easy for Q at the end of the day. But I think there's a lot of coaches who wouldn't have even had the balls to do it.
Look, man, I want to see him between the pipes for the rest of the playoffs. No matter what happens, I want to go down swinging with him or advance with him. And I got to be honest, the way he played last night, like, I am all for it. I think they can take it 7 games. I think they can win it.
1,000%. Hey, what do you have planned on the show tonight?
I got part 2, man. Max Ramos came on yesterday, and we couldn't even get to everything, man. It was such a good conversation. I'm like, dude, you got to come up today for part 2 again. Like, there's so much. We didn't even get to talk about the siege or anything yet, so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And he's such a good guest, man. I'm so excited that he's coming on for part 2.
That is so cool, man. Hey, so what do you make, by the way, of Aaron Rodgers last night? Because he basically said, "Oh, I love everybody. I love Jordan Love. I love the Packers. I love my teammates." Clearly, he doesn't love everybody, or there's no problem there. So obviously, he's leaving something out there, Steve. Like, there's no way he's being completely honest.
Well, what I really want to know is what was in his cup when he was saying that, because he was obviously enjoying his vacation. He wasn't being the Aaron Rodgers that's playing chicken with the Green Bay Packers. And look, you know, somebody's got to come out looking good on this, and it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, because Green Bay's been through this before with Favre. They're not going to come out on top with this. The only way they do is the same thing that happened last time. If Love ends up being as good as Rodgers or as good as Favre, that's the only way the Packers come out good on this.
Really well said, man. And I know it's going to be a good show, 6 to 7 o'clock tonight and every night. Miami Sports Music for the Fans with Stephen D. Steve, thank you so much and have a great show.
Thanks, brother. You have a good one, too.
So huge thanks here in studio to Nordy and to Alex, doing awesome work here. Want to send a big shout out to our guests who joined us today, Dave Dwork, Antoine Staley, and the coach, Thomas Rongen. So, hey, the fans support the teams. They buy the jerseys and the tickets, but they never get the love they deserve on sports radio. OnSideRadio.com changes that with Miami Sports Music for the Fans. It's the show driven by Stephen D., representing Miami sports fans around the world. Tune in every night from 6 to 7 o'clock as Stephen D. and fans around the world drive to talk about your favorite South Florida sports team. OnSideRadio.com is dedicated to the Miami sports fan.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments,